Air yay! Welcome, lords and ladies, to day 3 of the Knights of the Fix Ops Roundtable event. Don your finest set of armor and join our host, Katrina Ness, as we start the show.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Katrina Ness from Northwood University. Welcome, lords and ladies, to the fairest event in fixed ops. We welcome you to take a step back in time as we enter the fixed ops renaissance. Take a seat with the Knights of the Fixed Ops Roundtable as we enter day 3 of our enchanting event. Join us in the castle as we start the show. Join the discussion at the roundtable by using the chat feature on the right side of your screen. Just be sure to select everyone and not just hosts and panelists. Our first speaker uses her magic to oversee her BDC agents. Here to share more about her experience is Tammie Ventura from the Hudson Automotive Group.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Tammie Ventura is with us. She is the BDC Director at Hudson Automotive Group, South Carolina, a big friend of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. She's a Best Practice Award winner. She's been here before. First time I'm getting a chance to sit down with her and talk about her amazing career, and what she does for our industry. Tammie, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Ted. I really appreciate the time and being here.
I got to start with, in the green room, I asked you, I said, what is that colorful board behind you, Tammie? Tammie, what is that?
This is a portion of all of our outbound campaigns. I call it my beautiful mind window, and we use it to have a good visual of campaigns and be able to move things around, because we have our inbound and outbound team both perform with outbound campaigns.
Hudson Automotive Group, give us the geography, where, about how many stores, how many rooftops, because that's a big group.
It is a big group. We used to be 52. I know we purchased some recently, so 52 plus. We are all over the map. We are in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Louisiana. We've got people scattered around, so it's a pretty big organization.
When you were on a panel recently at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, you turned a lot of heads, because I asked you how many BDC agents are in the Hudson Automotive Group, and that got everybody's attention. So maybe let's start with that, and then I want to find out, who's Tammie Ventura. How did you get to where you are today?
Sure. So I do have 50 BDC agents, 50. And to this, right now we support 26 of our dealerships on the fixed ops side. It's been quite an incredible journey. We talked about starting with no tables, one table. We were in a lunchroom in a one of our stores on Savannah Highway, and you could hear the microwave dinging in the background. We took over the break room from the salespeople, and that's where we started. And we had quite an incredible year this year. I've been in automotive, came from Federal Express and Delta Airlines, and then fell into automotive about 18 years ago and absolutely fell in love with it. And I have continued to grow in the BDC since then. I've done sales and service, but with Hudson has been on the fixed op side.
Isn't it amazing that, even until fairly recently, there were a lot of dealerships who have not seen the need for a service or fixed ops BDC, but it's becoming more and more obvious that that is the right way to go.
Yes, I 100% firmly believe in it. Of course, I'm extremely passionate about it. And we've talked before about, I'm a huge believer in best practices and how it works. A BDC is not a BDC is not a BDC. So it definitely depends on the structure and how it's supported.
Well, let's talk a little bit today about a corporate BDC, because that's what Hudson Automotive Group is. And let's talk a little bit about maybe some of those best practices. And you've also highlighted consistent communication. And you say that makes all the difference. And of course, BDC, I believe, is all about communication. Tell us about the importance of that consistency and the best practices.
Wow. The consistency is, it's a big deal. It's huge. It's part of what makes it successful. When you look at, for instance, if you compare it to an outbound campaign, or even just managing your inbound calls, looking at filling that pipeline, right? So if you cut it off, start it, cut it off, start it, cut it off, start it, or change some of the way you handle customers or what you choose to accept or not accept, it does affect your pipeline. And that is the difference in the consistency. Anything you do, from the way you log into your computer to how your BDRs are handling their calls, how they're completing those calls, how they handle an escalation, how does that get to the store? Anytime that consistency or best practice wavers, they feel it in the store. I always say our customers, our fixed ops directors, our advisors are all our report cards, right? No matter what we do, somehow, some way, it makes it back to a general manager, or what happens in a lane. Somebody hears our story, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. And that's where the consistency, in my opinion, makes all the difference.
Talk to me a little bit about coaching and training and development. You've got a lot of agents there, a lot of reps.
Yes.
How do you do that? And how do you get the buy-in?
That is the key, is getting the buy-in. And I really believe it starts, one, culture is crucial. A BDR has to understand the consistency and the best practices that happen every day. How does my day start? What does that look like? I arrive at work 10 minutes before. I sit down, I pull up my screens, I get everything ready, I go get my coffee, and if my role starts at 9 a.m., I'm taking or making my first call at 9 a.m., not 9:02, not 9:05, but 9 a.m. What does that verbiage sound like? How are we connecting with our customers? When I have a question, how do I answer that? Do I have the capability? We have what we call a library that empowers our BDRs to have some answers at their fingertips so that they're not stopping their process. We recently, yesterday, had a huge meeting about even, continuing on and having a board where everybody is up on the screen where it looks like a classroom. And they're able to actually raise their hand and ask us a question so they don't have to get up and leave their desk, to save time and effort and to prevent putting the customer on hold. How are we affecting the customer's experience? We have to look at all of that. We do have a quarterly training. We stop daily. We pull them. We listen to calls. I'm a huge believer in having the BDR listen to a call, not just tell them, hey, this is what happened on this call. This was good, or this was an area of opportunity, but actually bring them in, listen to the call, Stop it periodically. What could we have said there? This is where you could have inserted this rebuttal, or this is where you could have taken the customer versus here. Stop that process early on to help the customer have a better experience. And we have a person that pulls calls regularly. We have calls pulled every week for every agent. There is a form that's filled out. We give them feedback. We give them, if they need training, we pull and we do training with them individually. It's, we didn't start there. We started, as I said, in a small room with 4 tables and a microwave behind us, but we grew there, and we never stopped looking for a better way to do it. I heard somebody mention this week in something that I was reading, when you think you've made it, you failed, because you've never truly made it. We have to continue to look for the best way to support our dealerships, to drive more traffic. We can say we have an incredible store that doesn't really need our attention, but they do. Because even if they think they have reached a very high level in that store, there's always room for improvement. And we do our best to try to guide them in that direction. And it starts internally. As you mentioned, it all starts internally.
Talk to us a little bit about that career mentality that you have with your team. You've mentioned that. If they see it, they believe it. Give us some of the background on that.
Yes. So when you hire someone, in our last meeting, someone said, "Where do you find your people? How do you hire?" And I said very carefully, right? We go through a lot of different avenues and options as drive-throughs, at fast food places. I always have cards with me. So, but when you have that person in front of you, how do you help them see that it's not a call center? We can, because of our numbers in 2023, 100% say we are a business development center, because our outbound opportunities and conversion outweighed our inbound opportunities and conversion. I think in October, when we had our first quarterly training, we were at 444,495 outbound calls. It's a lot, and then our inbound was 444,000 something. So we were at 1.2 to 1 call ratio. And
wow.
That's what we really look at is our inbound. Anybody can be a receptionist. Anybody can take inbound calls. How are they handled? How do we take the customer to the next level? But are we truly driving traffic? So when we're interviewing someone, we're talking about, we are not a call center. We are a business development center. This is growth internally that you can look forward to when you reach a particular level. And if you say that's where I want to be, then we work with you. We have team management and leadership weekly meetings where we read books and we talk about our own personal growth, so that we help push that along and push that energy into our BDC. When you get to a point where you're at that point of wanting to move on to the next level, have you seen anyone in the room that actually happened to? When they can look around and say, yes, here's a team lead, here's a team lead, here's a manager, then they see another manager or team lead be layered in, or I see someone that just got a promotion to corporate because of the good work that they did in the BDC. They believe it, and then they want to achieve. So when you're coaching them and you're talking to them about their numbers and how you need to help them get to the next level, we also talk to them about, what do you want? What do you want? Do you just want to come in? Not just, because being a BDR, a very good BDR is, put a crown on your head. It's a great to be in, right? Yeah. But do you want to go beyond that? And if you do, we certainly want to help you. We have BDRs that have become advisors. We have a BDR that has become a Toyota specialist recently, HR, accounting. And they did not leave here because they weren't happy. It was just a natural transition in something that moved them along to something that was an interest for them.
Tammy, finally today, talk to us about the importance of consistency being consistent in our actions, I guess, throughout all of life, and the importance of culture and how that impacts what you do there.
Culture, 110%. If the culture is not there, and what have you done to support that positive culture? As a manager, as a leader, are you setting the example? Are you listening? We have to listen to our internal customers as much as we listen to our external customers, right? Our internal customers, our dealership as a corporate BDC, our dealerships, we are employees, all of us, but they are our customers. Our BDRs are our internal customers. How do we create that culture? And consistency is the key. If I allow something to happen today and I'm okay with it, I can't come back next week and say, I've changed the way I feel about that. Now I want you to act this way. You know, that it's in everything, Ted. It is in how we handle a call. It's in how we turn a call over. It's in best practices of how we communicate with our dealerships. Our dealerships, if you called any one of our 26 dealerships right now, we communicate with them so much that they would say, I feel like you're in a back room in our dealership. There is no distance there. So, you know, the consistency is what keeps that intact.
Tammy, what a great message. Tammie Ventura, everybody, BDC director at Hudson Automotive Group. She has 50 agents working with her, as part of Hudson Automotive Group. That's a big group in South Carolina. She does a whole lot for our industry. She has a great outlook, great attitude, and she's leading the way in that business development center. And some of the things that we're hearing about, the outbound calls, one-on-one to the inbound calls, just amazing, Tammy. And
thank you.
I want to congratulate you on all the great work you're doing. And if it's all right, we want to invite you back and
thank
talk
you.
to you some more at our next couple events because
that's wonderful.
You're doing a great job there. And
thank you.
And a whole lot. So and again, best practice award winner. So congratulations on that, Tammy.
Thank you so much. Well, I don't do it alone. Like I said, I have 50 agents and they're very good. I have a phenomenal team and together we all make it happen. And I thank them for it every day because I tell them it's like riding a bicycle. You know, if a pedal's missing or the spoke or something, you're doomed, right? Or the chain falls off. So we all make it happen together. We all play our part. That's for sure.
Everybody, Tammie Ventura at the Hudson Automotive Group here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you.
Up next, the voice behind the Fixed Ops Roundtable, Michael Cirillo, interviews the fairest lady, the beloved Vanessa Collins from Northwood University.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Michael Cirillo, sitting down with my pal, Vanessa Collins. You are, let me just see if I get this right. You are a marketing communications student at Northwood University, but also you were the valedictorian at your high school?
Yes, I was valedictorian. I took my academics very seriously in high school and in college as well. I'm in my third year here at Northwood, studying marketing communications. I'm in the accelerated BBA MBA program. So I do graduate in May with my bachelor's, but I am coming back for my fourth year to get my master's degree in business administration. So
Wow.
yeah.
I think this is probably something not a lot of people in the auto industry understand about Northwood, that it's not an automotive school. There are other programs there. Is that right?
Right. It is fully business. So that's one of the reasons why I did choose to go to Northwood, is because I knew I wanted to go into business. But one of our most popular majors is definitely automotive, but there is everything in between. There's accounting, hospitality, marketing, management, and a lot more. So
Very cool. Tell me a little bit about your experience at Northwood up to this point. I mean, you're going in now your fourth year. You're going to pursue a master's. It sounds like a great place to go to school.
it really is. I have nothing but good things to say about Northwood University. As for inside of the classroom, the average class size is 18, so you definitely get a one-on-one connection with your professor.
Sure.
For me personally, my professor for my major, Professor McDermott, she has been awesome. And thanks to her classes, I have really been able to build out my portfolio because we do like full integrated marketing communications plans in her classes. So we do everything from the target market to the SWOT analysis to figuring out our tactics and even into like measuring how our plan performed. So it's really great because you do get that real life experience in the classroom, but then Northwood also has so many things to get involved in. So I am definitely involved a lot on campus at Northwood, but yeah, you definitely get a lot of real life experiences there.
Okay, we have to unpack some of this.
Yes.
If I think back, and let's be honest, I know people see gray in the beard. I'm not that old, okay? 41's the new what? Like 32?
Right.
Whatever
Yes,
it is.
exactly.
I mean, Tony Hawk still skateboards, for crying out loud, and he's got to be a grandpa now.
Yeah.
So my question is, because I'm going to be straight with everyone, I have no clue how I graduated high school. I just know that it happened. Sometimes I still have nightmares waking up in a cold sweat being like, wait, did I graduate high school? But to be a 4.0 GPA, Vanessa, I'm no rocket surgeon, but I think that gives you a pick of so many colleges, so many universities.
Right.
Why Northwood?
So I did apply to about 7 schools, and Northwood felt different from the start because of the individuals in admissions that would reach out to you. My person stayed connected with me more than any other colleges. I was constantly getting texts from her personal phone, like inviting me to different open houses, to different tours, to different events that Northwood University was holding. And I could tell that they really cared about their students from the start. And then when I toured, my tour guides, they were so intelligent, they were so well spoken, they were so friendly. I remember when we were walking during my tour on campus, every single person they saw, they're like, hi, hi. It seemed like everybody knew each other. And I felt like that would be such a great experience compared to a big school where you kind of drown out amongst the huge amount of
Right.
students attending. So for me personally, also coming from a small high school, I knew I really wanted a one-on-one connection with my professor. I wanted to be able to ask questions. And there was even a professor my freshman year who would stay after with me. It was for accounting. I was struggling pretty hard with accounting, and she would stay after with me for an hour and a half,
Wow.
and explain it to me so that I could understand the material. And that really reinforced the fact of why I even chose Northwood in the first place, is because they really care about their students.
Talk to me a little bit about the program you're in. Have you always had an affinity for business? Like, have you always been business minded?
So kind of. My dad is definitely very business minded. And so growing up with that, as well as in high school, I took 3 marketing classes as my extracurricular. And so I took 3 of those classes in high school, and I knew that I really liked marketing. And so I was pretty sure that I wanted to go into marketing. So that's why Northwood was kind of an easy choice. It's because they're all business. I'm going to be around a bunch of like-minded students, which I found very valuable, and it has been very valuable. So, yeah.
Okay, so into marketing, there's the throughput to the social media marketing, campaign management. Tell me a little bit about that. What's your experience been so far? I know you've
Yeah.
already been able to put your feet into the deep end of the pool with some really cool initiatives.
Yes. So, the Northwood University International Auto Show, I was involved my sophomore year as a captain. And so this is what helped me put my foot in the door for the auto show.
Yeah.
Because the following year, I decided to run for the executive board as the social media chair. So with this position, I basically rebranded all of our social platforms to be surrounded by the year's theme, because we have a different theme every year. So the theme was Connect, and I branded all of the socials around that theme, posted interactive stories, grid posts, TikTok, reel type videos. And I really enjoyed that. Another thing I do with social media is I'm the social media coordinator for Northwood Admissions. So I do their Facebook, their Instagram, and I create their Facebook group for the incoming freshmen to join and kind of connect before they get on campus. And then for this upcoming year, for the auto show, I'm the marketing chair. So I'm still doing social media, all things social media, but I'm also taking on some more of the physical marketing efforts. So I am doing signage for the show, doing a lot of creative stuff like that, as well as the headshots. So I took the headshots, I'm editing them, I'm creating different campaigns to go out on the stories for our social medias. And yeah, so I've gotten a lot of experience with social media while I'm at Northwood University.
I love it. I told you I wasn't going to throw you a curveball. I have a curveball. You
Okay.
ready? Yeah, and I'm gonna lean in for this one.
Okay.
We talk a lot in the automotive industry about social media. From your experience running campaigns at that level, what are some things you notice regularly that we just get wrong about social media, and what we could do differently?
I think adapting a personality as a brand is really important. So, because social media is a medium that is really rare, because you can actually connect one-on-one with your audience. You can respond to comments, you can follow back, you can interact with your audience, which is unlike really any other medium there is out there. So I think adapting a personality, like you see on Twitter, those fast food restaurants like Wendy's, they get really like funny. They respond to comments, they post funny tweets, and it makes the audience really connect with them. So I think that definitely adapting a personality as a brand and making it more personable instead of professional all the time is actually very valuable. So
I love it.
yeah.
This ties into my second question, because I mean, you were talking about Northwood's International Auto Show. Oftentimes, I think the longstanding joke in the auto industry is, well, I just kind of fell backward. I was like, I don't know how I got here. I just fell backwards into it. I'm pretty sure that's a direct quote from Henry Ford. Don't fact check me on that. But there seems to be a throughput for you. You were like, well, I came into Northwood for management, marketing, business, but here you are, even at the, precipice, dare I call it, of your career, already with inroads to automotive. Did it feel strategic to you, or do you feel like many of us where we kind of did a backwards, what do they call it? A trust fall? We did a trust fall back into the auto industry.
Oh, absolutely. I'm still very passionate about marketing for really any industry, but I definitely fell into the automotive. So I'm not even an automotive major, but with getting involved with the auto show at Northwood, that is really what made me get involved in the automotive industry as a whole. I was given the opportunity last summer to attend the Women in Automotive Conference.
Cool.
With my peer Brooke Engelhart, who is also on the board. And so we attended that, and I got to meet so many lovely people in the industry. And that is what made me at first like, oh, maybe I could be in the automotive industry, even though I'm not an automotive major. And so with that came this fall, our auto show, and I got to meet the same people, a lot of the same people that I met at the Women in Automotive Conference. And I realized that this industry is very tight knit. Like a lot of people know a lot of people. We all know each other. And
Sure.
that's something that I think is so unique and that I really love about this industry. And with this being my second year on the board for the auto show, I'm also getting the opportunity to attend NADA, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And getting involved with the Fixed Ops Roundtable too. So it's like all of these opportunities just have come up and I'm just grabbing them because I am really actually excited about this industry. And, you know, if you asked me a year ago, I wouldn't have believed it, but I'm definitely trust falling into the industry.
It is. It's that level of open-mindedness. I think of, my childhood. I knew from a young age I had ambition. I didn't know what that ambition was per se, but I knew it was like, I knew it was bigger than the small town in British Columbia, Canada, that I was living in.
Wow.
And I'm so grateful. Kind of what I'm picking up from what you're saying is I'm grateful for the open-mindedness, because had somebody back then said to 10-year-old Michael, 15-year-old Michael, the way you're going to experience greatness is through the retail car business, I would have been like, yeah, right. Sort of a thing. But here you are, it's kind of cool to see the rising generation that there is, for lack of better words, a new crop of
Yes.
young professionals who are finding their way to the automotive industry. So let me ask you kind of a two-parter.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Second of all, you mentioned Fixed Ops Roundtable. Would love to get your thoughts on, how you've found your participation and deepening of industry understanding through that medium.
Yeah. So I am really excited about entering the automotive industry and kind of being the new crop, especially with so many peers that I have even on the board, because we have about 20 people on our executive board for the auto show. So having weekly meetings and everything, you definitely get really close, and just hearing how, they're getting internships for different companies and, out of state internships for the summer, and they already have it lined up. Like, that's so exciting. And being able to connect with them on that level has been amazing. And with the Fixed Ops Roundtable, I met Ted and the team at the auto show. Like, this auto show is really like bringing me to all of these opportunities. But I met them there at the Women's Roundtable. I was doing photography for the social media, and getting an interview for the social media type internship was definitely awesome. I was like, wow, sounds too good to be true. And meeting Ted, he is amazing. And I think that the best part about this internship has definitely been the After Dark shows that we do on Mondays and Wednesdays. Being able to meet all of these high up people in the automotive has been crazy. It's like an opportunity of a lifetime, being able to talk with them one-on-one, connect with them on LinkedIn after. I have literally raised my connections by 100 just being here for 2 months, I think it is. Me and Katrina started in October. And so definitely the connections that Ted has brought us, and meeting other people in the industry, has been the best part about this position.
I love it. Well, I mean, gosh, I think you already know this, but there is a massive and bright future for you in the retail auto industry because it touches so many things. You can be a marketer in the retail auto industry. You can be in sales. You can be in leadership. You can be in process development. There's so many things. And I mean, I know those that have tuned in today, they are like, wait, did she? So let me get this right. She said marketing. She said social media. She said photography. I might have heard some video. She's good on camera. And there's just going to be, there's going to be job offers flying like crazy because of where we think the industry is going. One last question for you as it pertains to your outlook for the future of your career and how you believe Northwood has helped set you up to achieve that.
Oh, absolutely. So, for the future, we need to have an internship for the BBA MBA. We need to have an internship to even get into the graduate school. So them pushing that on us to get that real life experience, I think is very awesome, as well as all of the registered student organizations that you can get involved in at Northwood. So being the social media coordinator for admissions, being on the board for the auto show, doing all of these elaborate plans, these marketing plans in my classes that I have up on my LinkedIn. I can create a website for myself and add them to my portfolio and show employers what I have done, my actual work, without even being in the real world is amazing because they are already setting you up for the real world. And at Northwood University, you can find an opportunity literally everywhere to get involved on campus, to excel yourself in the classroom. So, and they push that. They push for you to get involved. And I think that because of all these opportunities that I've had both on campus, in the classroom, and even off campus, like with the Fixed Ops Roundtable, is definitely what is setting me up for success in my early career.
I love it. Vanessa, Colin, look, I don't know. Is anybody else seeing a thumbs down on my screen?
I saw that.
Hey. We got to replace that. We got to, come on. There it is. There. I'm folding my arms and it gives us a thumbs down. No, it's 2 thumbs up. Siskel and Ebert, 2 thumbs up. Vanessa Collins, thank you so much for being my guest here on the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, Michael.
Need help increasing sales for your dealership? With just one place to connect your data, solutions, and results, you can finally align your teams, improve performance, and power business efficiencies across all your stores. Easily source inventory, bring more traffic to your dealership, and speak to your audience to boost conversions with multi-channel digital solutions. Drive repeat business and transform your operations with a data-driven, integrated suite. Turn shoppers to sales. Increase vehicle acquisition. Maximize service scheduling. Enhance service lane experience. Own your retention marketing. Drive service conquest. And convert service to sales. Our suite, your solution. Contact us today and deliver first-rate experiences to your consumers.
ye. Here to give us the latest on retail warranty reimbursement is our next speaker, Ken Lohr from dealerlaw.com.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Ken Lohr is with us. He's the Director of Retail Warranty Reimbursement at Bellavia Blatt, PC, dealerlaw.com, friend of the dealer, advocate for the dealer. No one better in this space than the gentleman who's here. Ken, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks, Ted. A pleasure to be here again, and looking forward to a great 2024.
Yeah, can you believe it? Ken, so much happening in our industry, so many changes. It's an exciting time to be here. And, you know, the topic of warranty is all over this event, and it's a big, big topic for dealers.
Yeah, for sure. It's our year to shine as fixed ops people. As you know, I'm a fixed ops person by trade, just like you are. And 2024 is going to be our year, where really there's been some dramatic changes in the world of retail warranty reimbursement that we'll chat about, but it's become even more important. It's always been important, but you know, one of the things that has changed, as we know, is inventory levels on the new car side and the used car side are building. In fact, Automotive News, their headline is "Dealers Flooded with Inventory." So we know what's going to happen, right? The grosses are going to go down on new and used. So as fixed ops people, we got to pick up the slack there. We've got to really make up for the gross that's lost on the front end. So we're back steering the ship again. So that's going to be our year, and that's why we're going to shine in 2024.
Got a lot of responsibility, and I have a number of questions to ask you today. And, you know, we're seeing from state to state, you know, how the statutes are different. Dealers are talking about and filing for increases in their warranty. So kind of get things started today, Ken, why, let's set the stage, is retail warranty reimbursement so important?
Well, you know, the warranty work that we do now is becoming larger and larger as a percentage of our business. So the cars are becoming more complicated. The technicians are becoming more skilled. We have to pay them more. We have to provide more training. The equipment costs are astronomical, as we all know. Gone are the days where, you know, a set of 4 jack stands and a floor jack is going to put you in business. That just doesn't happen anymore. So, you know, we're just hit with all these expenses, and we definitely have to support that. So the only way we're going to do that on the warranty side is we need to get retail pricing for our warranty work. And if you're not doing that, you're leaving behind hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. It's just money that you're just leaving on the table. So that's definitely something that needs to be a priority for everybody.
And Ken, this is not just labor, but labor and parts.
100% parts. So, you know, the cost plus 40 doesn't work for us anymore. And that's what most manufacturers, their national reimbursement rate is cost plus 40%, with a few exceptions. Volkswagen and Audi and Mercedes and BMW, they pay MSRP. But even at that, most dealers today are utilizing parts matrices that entitle them to something well beyond retail pricing at MSRP. So there's opportunity for every dealer out there. In fact, you know, today I'm doing a submission for a dealer that is already receiving retail on parts, but they've made some changes to their pricing structure and their matrix, and we're going to bump them up another 10 points. And that's huge. So if you think just because you've already received retail on your parts markup, there may be more opportunity. So we do a lot of projections for dealers, and we look at financial statements, and we look at those opportunities for those dealers. So they're out there. All you have to do is just call us, and we'll give you a projection and let you know if the opportunity's there.
You know, when a dealer files for an increase, the OEM, the manufacturer, has a I would imagine, typically a team of lawyers who look at it. Ken, your firm is a legal firm, okay? A legal firm representing the dealer, a friend of the dealer for a long time. Len Bellavia, his family's been in the business for years and years, and you've really been the pioneers in kicking this whole thing off many, many years ago.
Oh, absolutely. Len's a car guy, so his family is still in the retail dealership business. So he grew up in the car business just like I did. And he is the preeminent attorney that handles automotive franchise law. So he's the go-to guy. So he's the pioneer in retail warranty reimbursement. And, today, just like you mentioned, this is a legal process, and it becomes more important today because the dealers today, our retail rates are climbing a lot faster than what they had been in the past. So, we're not seeing $5 or $10 an hour increases every year. We're seeing $40, $50 an hour increases, which enables the dealer to go back and get another bite of that apple from the manufacturer. But the manufacturers are very, very cautious now because their expenses are definitely climbing on the fixed ops side. So when they see a request for $200, $250 an hour, $300 an hour, we've seen, they're going to do everything they can not to pay that. So when they rebut a submission, it becomes a legal issue. And when I say rebut, they object. They'll object to the most common objection, Ted, is reasonableness, because most statutes contain that language, reasonableness. So as long as your request is reasonable. So if it's not reasonable, that gives, even if your submission is correct and accurate and fundamentally sound, the manufacturer can rebut that. So where do you go with that? If you're not a law firm, how do you handle that rebuttal? And that's where we come in.
Ken, in the last couple of years, we've seen a big wave of EVs coming through, electric vehicles, I mean. And they're selling more in some states than in others. I think you mentioned inventory is back. Even EVs are now in inventory, a lot of them.
Right.
How does this affect EVs?
Well, most of these statutes were written prior to EVs becoming the norm in our business. So there was no specific accommodations for EVs and EV batteries. So that's becoming an issue because the manufacturers are pushing back on what they pay on parts markup for EV batteries. So they're considering the EV battery to be an engine of the vehicle. So there are some statutes that allow the manufacturers to reimburse at a certain percentage rate for engine and transmission assemblies. So they're taking that tactic too. And as well, they're just writing their own rules when it comes to the statute because the statute does not address EV batteries specifically. So that's one of the things that we're going to be challenged with moving forward. Len Bellavia is actively involved in that, and dealer associations are going to approach the legislatures in each state to get that language changed in the statute. So that's going to be the next big wave in retail warranty reimbursement.
Wow. And I know you folks are on top of all that. Ken, what is the dealer's investment to obtain retail reimbursement? How does it work? Kind of walk us through that.
Well, we do everything from soup to nuts. So we're a manual process. We go in and we look at different sequences of repair orders because most statutes allow us to look back 180 days. So we carefully select the correct sequence that's going to give us the best outcome. And our analysts are all fixed ops people. So we manually review thousands of repair orders for each one of our clients to extract the required, typically 100 qualified repair orders that we utilize.
Okay, it is 100, and are they consecutive? Is that it?
Correct. In most statutes, it's 100. There's a few exceptions, but the majority of statutes, it's 100 qualified repair orders or 90 days of repair orders. So, for example, if you're a low volume dealer, you may have a year's worth of repair orders to get 100 qualified repair orders.
Okay.
So the statutes, most of them limit that to 90 days. So if we look at 90 days worth of repair orders and we extract 30 qualified repair orders, that's what we utilize to make the calculation. But generally it's 100 qualified repair orders. So it's a huge amount of work. Like I mentioned, we're so busy right now, and that's a good thing. This time of year, we tend to be busy. I jump in and I'm doing a submission now. I'm on repair order number 3,400 on one dealer. I've reviewed so far to extract 100 qualified repair orders. So just think about that. If you're a fixed ops manager or a parts and service manager and you're trying to do that in-house, where are you going to find the time to do that? Plus the expertise to do that too. So it's
run your business, run your shop. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So, and again, the issues of the manufacturers pushing back based on the reasonableness language that most statutes contain is becoming very real. So we're able to deal with that effectively with 100% success because we have a team of attorneys. That's what we do. We're automotive attorneys. So we know how to push back against those rebuttals from the manufacturers. So
you're kind of leveling the playing field, if I can say that for the dealer.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Ken, why should this be at the top of any fixed ops director's priorities? Here we are, end of January for 2024. Why should this be at the top?
Well, again, the gross is there. It's waiting for you to pick it up. So it's really when you have an outside vendor, I hate to use the word vendor, but an outside firm of experts that handles the process for you, it becomes a no-brainer because it's not taking away from your day. It doesn't distract from your operation. I mean, just think about if you're trying to do this on your own, you have a business to run, which requires your 100% attention at all times. So to have somebody like us do it, and in fact, as a law firm as well, it's just a huge time saver. We can get it done quickly, efficiently, accurately, and if it gets rebutted, we can defend that. So it just doesn't make sense to try and do it yourself. And picking up that extra gross, I mean, we have dealers that we've gotten $2 million a year gross profit increases in parts and labor. I mean, it's out there. But typically today, it's not unusual to see $300,000 or $400,000 a year in additional gross, and that goes right to the bottom line. That's all net. So that's the difference between pre-pandemic and post-pandemic is we're back to being more responsible and picking up more of the profitability of the dealership in fixed ops.
Ken, there are some dealerships that haven't filed in years for an increase.
Absolutely. We see them all the time where it's been 4 or 5 years that they haven't received or filed for an increase. And I've seen labor rates that are $80 ahead of where they were 5 years ago, and they've left that on the table for the last 4 or 5 years. So those numbers can be really staggering. To leave that behind if you're doing 1,000 hours a month in warranty labor, right? And you're leaving behind $60 an hour, that's 60 grand a month. So the numbers can be quite large. So it's really important to pay attention to what your rates are and to make sure that you're filing at least once a year. All the statutes allow you to file at least once a year. Some are more often. So
dealers do this once in a while. They file for the increase.
That's
Ken,
right.
you do this every day.
We do it.
You have experience with every OEM. I would imagine in every state, and you're fluid in all the statutes in different states and what the dealer is and is not entitled to.
Yes, we worked in every state, including Alaska, Hawaii. We've worked with every manufacturer. And when I say every manufacturer, it's every manufacturer. We've worked with Alfa Romeo, Maserati, McLaren. We've worked with all the manufacturers.
Talk to me about the rebuttal, because I would think, first of all, you're excellent at setting the stage and filing for this on behalf of the dealer. All right. But when that rebuttal comes in, I would think there's nobody better than Bellavia Blatt to be handling that from a professional point of view.
Well, we certainly feel that way. So, we don't know of any other law firm that does what we do, at least on the level that we do it at. We're not aware of any law firm. There may be a few that dabble in it, but at the same time, even those firms they're not car people like we are. So we understand the business, and that's all we do. We don't practice real estate law. We're not personal injury attorneys. We're not, we don't represent bankers on Wall Street. We represent real dealers every day.
The dealer. Yeah.
That's right. So that's all we do. So when we receive a rebuttal, we know how to handle that rebuttal. And the manufacturers respect us. So when we submit on behalf of a dealer, they know it's coming from Bellavia Blatt. So the likelihood of them rebutting, as opposed to you put a fill in the blank from another vendor, the likelihood that they rebut our submissions is much, much lower than it is anybody else, because they know they're going to have to deal with our legal team. So that's the difference. And like you said before, every manufacturer, they either have in-house counsel or they have white shoe lawyers from New York, or you name it, LA, and they pay them a lot of money. Trust me. So we deal with them on a regular basis.
Talk to me about the different states, the statutes, because depending where you're located, some dealers have found that there's a lot of money to be had by being aware and by filing properly, especially with a partner. I don't say a vendor, a partner like Bellavia Blatt. Right.
Once you become a client of ours, we don't lose clients. They become, like you said, we're partners with them. We do their submissions once a year, sometimes more often than that, depending on the statute. And we look at their numbers constantly on a continual basis to identify those opportunities for them, so they don't forget about it, or you get distracted in the day-to-day. So we definitely have that advantage. But as far as the different statutes go, one of the trends is going to be, and we see this coming this year, and it's happened in the past as well, is how do we accommodate for labor times? So yes, we can receive a rate that is very close to our door rate on the retail side, but in the past we haven't been able to receive the flag time, because as we all know, it's not unusual for our retail flag times to be double what the manufacturer allows us. So moving forward, how is that going to be addressed? And a few states have addressed that. And I think we're going to see more and more of that, not just in 2024, but beyond that. We're going to see more changes in the statutes to accommodate the lack of manufacturers' flag times.
And the manufacturer keeps moving the goalpost. I've had a number of technicians on panels here telling me exactly that.
Sure. I mean, they move it lower, not higher, right? So, especially when we get hit with these recalls, now the flag time goes from 1 hour down to 3/10 or 4/10, and the price of the part goes from $200 to $50. So, all those things happen, and the manufacturers tightening it up as far as allowable flag time. It's not getting better, it's getting worse.
I'm glad you mentioned recalls, because that's a big part of our industry, and there's a lot of focus on recalls, and that's all paid through warranty.
That's right. So it becomes even more important. One of the biggest recalls, and Kia and Hyundai dealers are going to know what that is, because they've experienced it for the last 5 or 6 years, where they've changed how many hundreds of thousands of engines under recall. So if you're a Kia or a Hyundai dealer and you're still at cost plus 40%, just think of the amount of gross you're missing on those engine assemblies that you've been installing. I mean, it's a huge number. So that's one of the most visible recalls and the most expensive recalls out there, are those engines. But as we know, there's hundreds of recalls every year between all the manufacturers, Ford, General Motors. We all have them. And if we got paid what we deserve for those recalls, life would be a lot better. So that's one of the things that changes for the dealer. So it just doesn't apply to the normal warranty work. It applies to recall work as well.
So somebody watching today, a dealer, fixed ops service director, reaches out to Bellavia Blatt, to you, Ken, and your team. You have a whole division in this firm that handles this. What's the next step? They reach out and then you do what, a consultation for them, or how does it work?
Yeah, the easy part of it is pick up the phone, call us, or email us. It's my email address is down there. My phone number is down there.
Okay.
We can do a free projection for you that'll tell you, put a number to it, what we feel you're entitled to based on some financial information we get from you. And we'll put together that projection and project what your annualized gross profit increase will be. Put a number to it. So it's that simple. We charge a simple flat fee. We don't take a percentage of your business or anything like that. And it becomes very transparent. It makes sense. It becomes the proverbial no-brainer when you see the numbers.
I know every year you're at NADA. That's the end of this week. Will Bellavia Blatt be there?
Absolutely. We're going to be there. Come visit us. We're going to have a nice prominent booth at 2609W. So come and see us. We're happy to meet and greet, and we can even do a projection while we're at the booth. So bring your financial statement, page 5, page 6 of your financial statement with you, and I'll give you a projection while you're there.
How about that? Everybody can also reach out to Ken at the email down below, dealerlaw.com. I love the URL that you have, and it's very appropriate, and you're doing a great service for the dealers, Ken. Ken, congratulations to you and Len and the team. You do great work, great feedback from the Fix Ops Roundtable and our dealers.
Thank you, Ted. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you having us here, and we really support what you're doing, and you're doing a great job in the industry.
Thank you. Everybody, the best in the business. I don't say that about everybody. Ken Lohr from dealerlaw.com, Bellavia Blatt, retail warranty reimbursement. Reach out to them. Reach out to Ken. He's active on social media as well. You can find him there. Ken Lohr, everybody, here today with us at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks, Ted.
What if you could make a phone call and collect $100,000 to $150,000 a year by obtaining retail rates on both warranty parts and labor? Sound too good to be true? We do all of the work for your dealership. We are the pioneers in retail reimbursement and regarded as the industry leader amongst dealers, accountants, and state dealer associations nationwide. And we don't share in your new profits. You keep it all. Your service managers and parts managers are busy. They have a job to do. Leave it up to the experts. We offer a turnkey solution. Your manufacturer won't know you retained a law firm. Our firm has made thousands of submissions and has collected hundreds of millions of dollars for our clients in over 45 states. Because of our unmatched experience, our results yield the highest possible increases. We offer a low flat fee, never a contingency fee. Our fees are much lower than non-attorney consultants who take a percentage of your added profits. We are lawyers. This is legal work. Your state statute controls the outcome. The factories rely on their lawyers to respond. So let us level the playing field. Bottom line, thousands of dealers have selected Bellavia Blatt for their retail warranty submissions. With our low flat fee, expert reputation, and behind-the-scenes work model, we are your best choice.
Break open your books of enchanting. Skyler, Chadwick, and Tully Williams are here to present the Cox Automotive Service Study.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Skyler Chadwick from Cox Automotive is with us, along with Tully Williams from the Nilo Company, to bring us the Cox Automotive Service Industry Survey. Skyler and Tully, welcome back to the event.
Thank you so much, Ted. I can't wait to dive into the survey. A lot of great information. Thank you, Skyler and Cox, for getting this survey out to everybody.
Yeah, I'm super excited today. Thanks, Ted, for the invite as well. I'm super excited to represent Cox Automotive as we help you as dealerships really truly understand the data and what your consumers are saying about their service experience in 2023. And as we start this new year, it's exactly what that says. What opportunities and challenges do we still have that we have with today in our service industry that our consumers are telling us about, and what they told Cox Automotive this last year? And how can we change this? How can we help you as dealerships? I think that's the most important thing is, when I think about 2024 going to this year as Cox Automotive, how do we help you as dealerships truly understand your data and how to really dissect that and really just kind of drill into those opportunities that may be uncovered at your dealership today as well.
I love the title of this, Skyler, Under the Hood, Opportunities and Challenges in the Service Industry. Skyler, clearly the focus in our industry right now is on fixed operations. And congratulations to you and to Cox Automotive, not only on the study, but all the great work that you're doing out there in the field.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. So with that, let's move forward and find out what's going on.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. So we're going to talk about some things that are awesome out there in the industry that dealerships should be excited about. And things that also, too, if you're not doing these things, maybe you should start looking at those things and focusing on those specific things, too, as well. So this first thing we talk about is that this rapid growth, right? We have a $400 billion consumer spend in the next 2 years that we're projecting here at Cox Automotive. So the service departments, like you said, Ted, this is the future, right? Fixed ops is the future. This is what's going to really help you as dealerships propel into the future. And I think one of the things that's very interesting in this Cox Automotive industry studies that we found is that consumers, that they're buying service contracts, right? We saw this increase of service contracts on their vehicles go up 50%, folks. 50%. That should say a lot about what your consumers are saying about their current cars and what they want to do with their current cars and how they're investing into their actual vehicles, and also investing in your dealership and where they want to service their vehicles and also buy their vehicles at the same time too as well. So this is a great opportunity for dealerships. This is eye-opening for me personally as we start to look at how we build relationships in the dealership. As we look at the front end and the back end, and Tully, how important is that to the actual service departments having the relationship with the front end?
As we are in the repeat referral business, what better helps in repeat referral business as service contracts? When you look at service contracts, one is it's a crucial point for the variable side. There's good profit in it, but we're also driving that retention. But now it's in the shop, right? The best thing you can ever do is call a customer up and say, your water pump has failed, and oh, by the way, you were lucky enough to buy that service contract, and that now is free, or there's a slight deductible for it. What more can we do to keep people happy, right? Building that trust, because a lot of people say, well, service contracts, we never need that. And when you look at service contract usage, it's one of the highest ones. And you look at some brands that struggle in quality. If you don't have a service contract on it, you're probably not going to buy another one, right? So I'm feeling that there's two things. One, trust with the customer when we sell it in the F&I box. How do we protect our investment if they're going to keep that car long-term? Second is building a relationship with the service department and making that service advisor their best advisor for their next car and their next 100 cars and their friends and family. Yeah. And then it goes back in full circle, and guess what happens? What is the best trade a dealership can have? It is a car serviced and has a service contract at your store that is repaired when they trade it in. What more can you ask for when you have the circle of life? So service contracts for us is so important. This is the reason why we have to have great relationships with the F&I department. They cannot be, oh, those guys in the box and they just don't like anything, and they need to have that strength where that F&I person is in the driveway talking to some customers, right? Are we selling service contracts in the driveway and refer them up to the F&I department? Think about all the great things that happen when a service contract is used in the service drive. It makes everything happier.
Skyler, it is very forward thinking, and I have heard Tully talking about this for quite a while now, and it really works in the real world.
Yeah, I think Tully hit another something on the nose there too. Is right when we talk about inventories, right? Dealerships that are out there, not just fixed ops, right? It's a win-win for both the front end and the back end too, as well. Well, it's important that we take in good cars, right? Consumers want to buy a quality car. Hey, this car had a service contract under it, right? We did all these repairs of these types of things. It just builds that value, trust, and apparency with our consumers in our dealerships.
Let me just talk into that, Skyler. What would be best when they buy a used car? Let's say the car's got 40,000 miles on it. The customer comes in for the first visit. The service writer brings it up and looks at the history and say, oh my goodness, that car had a service contract and that car was well maintained. The reassurance from the customer, from the service advisor, is such a big deal. They expect the sales department to say whatever, but when the service advisor can show the history and all the repairs that were done and the car was well maintained, it just builds on that repeat and referral business.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, and here, this next thing, I think it's very important, right? We talk about service visits, right? As Cox Automotive and with our product with X Time, we release monthly the stats on that, the numbers we see, the number of repair orders, the dollars per repair order, we see those averages. But I think this is an interesting factor here that we're starting to see the age of those vehicles on the road go up. Look at in 2018, it was 11.7. Now we're up at 2021, it was 12.1. Now we're in 2023, we're at 12.5. That means these people are actually keeping their cars, they're investing. And this goes back to the whole fixed ops, right? If you are not on board with fixed ops at your dealership, you're being left behind, right? You're leaving a lot of gross profit on the dealership. And I think the other thing too is like, look at the number of miles these people are driving, right? 4% increase in miles are being driven since 2020. And I think that's an important factor to think about too, as well, as we start to see these older vehicles on the dealerships, and how does that service contract, right, come into play, and how important that is to the dealership and to our building trust with our consumers is super important too, as well. And so as we start to see this, right, we saw this trend in 2018 to 2013, we're starting to see those average service visits going up, right? So we're surpassing now COVID. We're starting to see some of these things come back to normal. Realization that we saw back in 2018, and I hope to get there in 2024 this year as we start to see more of these consumers come back into the dealership. So this is very insightful and should be very positive warning to our dealerships that are viewing here today.
And Skyler, reason number 3 up here that's on the screen, does that refer to DIY, do it yourself?
Yes, it is, right? I think a lot of our consumers think they can do it on their own, but guess what? It's becoming harder and harder, and you really need to build that relationship with those dealerships that have the tools and the technology to be able to take care of the customer. Isn't that correct, Tully?
100%. What's interesting about this is that when I look at the visits per, you look at most models now are a yearly maintenance interval, right? And I think that now you're seeing why 2.5, why that 1.5 extra visits per year, right, is those are recalls and warranty items, right? Maintenance very rarely is going to be a 2-timer per year unless you do a pit stop of some kind. So what we're seeing, I think also, especially with EVs out today, is that repair visits are much higher than they used to be. And I think that when we look at that, that really goes back to 2 things. One, are we building great relationships? Because now we're even better in the repeat referral business because we know we're going to see that customer 1, 2, 3 times a year. 2 is that if we sell that service contract that we just talked about, I want to drive that reason number 3 arrow down, right? And if we have service contracts and prepaid maintenances, we're going to drive those numbers down where they come back into the shop and to our facility and make sure that we treat them with respect and honor and trust, showing them what's wrong with their car, proving it with pictures and video, and then having them, yes, we want to make sure we come back in. And if we sell a service contract, guess what? They leave the car repaired and a very minimal expense.
Great information. Very powerful study, and really honored here that you're presenting here at the Roundtable, Skyler.
Yeah. And this goes back to also too, we look at this, you look at 2018 to 2023 here, and this is what I love to see, right? We're starting to see these vehicles that are more than 5 years old, right? These maintenance and repair combos are super important to dealerships. So this goes back to your websites, right? Are you putting menus on there, right? Are you putting factory menus on there? Or have you created your own dealership menus, right? Are you going above and beyond what the manufacturer is recommending? And I think showing price, transparency on our websites, right? What is this going to cost me when I bring my car in or I schedule that service appointment online, right? Those are super important, which we'll talk about at the very last of this. We'll talk about the importance of what's important to the consumers and what are they looking for from a digitized experience as well. So maintenance and repairs, start looking at your combinations, right? It's on the rise, right? We're starting to see this. As we start to see those vehicles more on the road, we're going to start seeing more of these actual maintenance and repair combos come into play for sure.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense. Sure.
Now this, I want to make sure that I point this out to people, right? I don't think trust it's on the major downswing, but it is a major concern. Folks, we've seen the trust factor go down 8% in the last 2 years. So we've seen a 4% decrease in the last year over year, the last 2 years. The trust factor is eroding, okay, with our consumers. We've got to fix this, right? We've got to earn trust. And I think it's also too, our consumers are becoming more intelligent. The way that they search for businesses, who do they want to do business with, right? They look at Google reviews, they look at everything, right? They're starting to becoming more educated in the business of where should I take my car for repairs, right? Start attracting those things, right? And we're going to talk about this trust thing. So trust is in dealerships is eroding, and we've seen this decline in the last. We've seen this decline now 8%, and I think it's more likely. I think it's where we miss the bar with our consumers, right? I think it's where are we doing things right? Did we send a video this time? We didn't send a video this next service, right? And now our consumers are starting to look, hey, I miss those types of things, right? Yeah, sure. Every visit matters. Every little step in the process matters, right, Tully? I think the process is that if we don't have a process in place and we don't look at the data to make sure that those processes are being followed, our consumers' trust in our dealership experience will continue to erode. So this is a huge factor. I think this is one of the biggest highlights and the biggest worries for me. And here at Cox Automotive, we look at the consumer experience. How do we continue to build trust with our customers, making every experience matter? Doesn't matter if they're coming in for just a rotate and oil change. It matters, right? And I think that's important to know about our processes in place that we have. Are we doing the right things? And if we're not doing the right things, make the change today, right? If you don't know how to do that, speak to Tully Williams, right? To the Neil Group, right? These people who have been in the business for a long time, who know how to do that. But we can also talk to Cox Automotive, right? We'll help you, give you the insights of where you should be and how we can help you too here as well. So,
Tully, you always speak to us about the importance of consistency. And I know the Nilo company over 100 years in business, but look at all the way over to the right, the 15% introduced the service department at time of purchase. And going back to what you and Skyler have always talked to us about, the importance of those consistent videos and pictures from the dealership to the customer.
You know, I think that this is troublesome, and I think it's so important that we bring this out. Is that look at from 54, we were at 62, and now we're at 54. It should tell us something. One is that are we truly in the repeat referral business? Is your CSI, which stands for Customer Supplies Income, is it at a high number? Right. I also think that too is that are you consistent? Just what Skyler said. And when we mean consistent, it doesn't mean like we're at 80% or 50%. We're doing it kind of. I mean, we're talking about if we are not 95 to 100% on all of our processes, I go completely crazy. And our goal is to make sure that we have that consistent time the customer comes in, we meet the customer at the car. We do a walk around the car and take pictures. We bring them in. We're a luxury car, so we don't do it at the car. We bring them in, they sit them down. We talk about their service history. We tell them what we recommend for the next car, or if it's a car that has a key that we plug it in there, it tells us what the car needs. We tell them that we're going to do a great inspection and we're going to have a tech video going to actually tell you what's wrong with your car or tell you everything great about your car, right? This happens 100% of the time. And if anything is needed, even if it's not needed, guess what we're going to do? We're going to send you a quote, even if it's zero, and tell you everything wrong with your car. And our goal is to have a rider video, which we are testing to make sure that say, hey, Mr. Customer, here is your car. Everything is in fantastic shape. Love to see you here. We're open till 5. These are things that give confidence and trust to customers, and they have to be done every time. And when your employees know that this is so important and it helps them do business, guess what happens? They buy into the system. This is not easy, but when they believe the system works, then all of a sudden 95 to 98 to 100% is achievable.
Going back to that very far right introduction to service department, right? It goes back to confidence. When I bought this car from this dealership, did they take me to the service department? Do we have a great process for first service appointments, FSA, right? We call that, we have acronyms here in the industry, but are we doing that correctly? Are we making that process a simplified process for our consumers, right? Are they confident? Oh, I just bought this car. Now I can actually trust my service department at this dealership to take my car to have it be serviced, right? It's all about confidence. It's about processes.
Yeah, great stuff. Makes a lot of sense.
Now, how do we improve this trust? I think this is one of the most interesting things that I continue to find, right? The trust factor. The number one thing you'll see on here, trust. That the customer is worried about you buying their car as a dealership. Don't make it about buying their car. Make it about a trusted experience. And what I mean by that, help the customer understand. Do they have equity in the car, for example, right? Is it a good time to trade that car in and to buy a new car? Make it a good experience, right? Don't just say, I think some of these dealerships have a desk in their back of their service department. They're like, they're like, here, go get that customer, right? We want that car, right? That's the perfect car for our inventory, right? It meets our attractability, right? And our plan of our buying experience, right? Don't make it a negative experience. Think of ways outside the box to make it a positive experience for our consumers that want to do service department, right? Because guess what? That car comes in the shop. Guess what? We know if that car is a great car for us to buy, right? And if there's an opportunity for us to do that, make it a pleasant experience. Don't attack the customer immediately, right? Let them come in and do what they wanted to do, which is what? Service their car at your dealership. They want to get that done there as well. And I think that the other thing too, that I think the number 3 one that really kind of, I think we don't do as well enough job, I think in the industry, is following up with our customer, right? If we change brakes on this customer's car, follow up with them. Hey, how's everything working? Is it, do you have any sounds? Do you hear any sounds, right? Be communicative with our customers. Help them understand. Build trust and value in their experience, right? If someone just spent a couple, $1,000 or more on new brakes on their car, it's important to them, right? Is it running the way that it should? Are you happy with your experience? I think those are important too as well. But then we talk about the value, right? The total cost is not reasonable, right? They're worried about they'll be overcharged, right? Unreasonable labor charges. Make it as much forefront as you possibly can, right? Let the customer know. Put as much pricing as you can on your website, right? We know that that's a difficult thing for a lot of dealerships today, but guess what? I don't go to Amazon and see things with zero pricing. Oh, when it shows up, we'll let you know what that price is, right? Consumers don't want that, right? Consumers have become habits of creatures, right? They want that seamless experience. So there's a lot of things here as we look about trust and growth and these barriers. These are the things that you should really be focusing on. In my process today, step back, be honest with yourself. Are these things issues with our current processes, and how do we change those, Tully?
When I look at these things here, I look at this. Is your service advisor overworked? And I think that when I look at ratios, I look at my tech ratio to service advisor, and I'm a 3-to-1er. 3-to-1er is 27 hours or 30 hours per person. Now, if that technicians are working at 130%, I'm going to lower that down. Why? Because I think that we want to make sure that the service advisor has the time to do what? To follow up And what is the worst thing when you look at a CSI store that is failing or slipping? What is the first thing you look at is our follow-up, and you'll find out that the phones aren't being answered and the emails are not being answered, and we're not calling customers back and thanking them. And I think that when you look at this, to me, is your service advisors overworked? And I say a lot of them are. My goal is to be actually a little heavy on service advisors so they can then have the time. Now we have luxury brands. So our goal is 8 to 12 ROs a day, max, right? And people say, oh my God, Tully, that's not very many. But then what we can do is have that time to spend. So we have the value, we have the trust. Because when you look at a person and says, should I buy the car or not? Who are they going to ask? They're going to ask their service advisor. And what happens when the service advisor is busy? What do? They blow it off, or yeah, go ahead and buy it. Or no, don't go buy it. And if your service advisor is not part of that team when we purchase cars, the customer is going to believe the service advisor over the person in the service drive. So it's all about building relationships. And does your service advisor have the time to build true relationships?
Amen. Love it. Powerful stuff, gentlemen.
Yeah, this one's an interesting one, right? We just talked about how consumers, right? Impact of service experience on likely the return to the dealer that they purchased that vehicle from, or does the return of that customer that buys that car, their next car, from where they service their vehicle at? And I think this is interesting, right? So very much, I think this should be eye-opening to dealerships, right? It's all about focusing. How is our experience with the buying experience? How do we get them over to the service department, right? Hey, if that customer buys that car and they don't bring it back to us for service, we didn't do our job. Vice versa. If the customer services their vehicle with us and they don't buy their next car from us, we're doing ourselves a dissatisfaction, right? We have to look at all processes inside the dealership to make sure that we're building trust with that consumer. So this is huge.
I would say on this is that I always believe that I hate when they sell cars out of the market, right? I want to sell cars in our market. Why? Because I'm in the repeat referral business. And if I make more people happy, they'll tell their friends and family to buy more cars from the Nilo company, right? And this here is just a strength to show that if we treat them well on the service drive, they'll come back and buy their next cars from us and tell their friends and family. This is the best slide of all.
Huge.
Cool stuff. Love it.
Yeah, this last one. Where are the opportunities of growth, right? By offering online tools are super important to our consumers and much beyond just scheduling, right? The scheduling part is to me is probably one of the most fastest way that we can get our consumers back to the dealership, get them into the dealership. So making sure that our service scheduling experience is important. But if you look at these types of things, right? Number 3 is an interesting one, right? Review and approve repair estimates. God. Right? This is super, there's a major gap here. How do we fix this, right? Consumers want this, right? I think about scheduling, about pricing, those two kind of go hand in hand with each other when I think about those specific things. But the review process, Cox Automotive just released in the industry studies that we can see across all of our websites, right? Consumers that get a picture and video respond in 6 minutes or less. Huge.
That gets their attention. Huge.
Right. It's your attention. And then also there's a 39% increase on dollars per RO. Don't leave those dollars on the table, folks, right? Don't let your advisors, right, make their paychecks bigger. Invest in tools, right? Make it easier for your consumer to actually approve those services, right? I think it's amazing, right? Hey, you can tell me all you want over the phone by text message and by speaking to me over the phone that my car needs new brakes, but I'm going to listen to that technician when he tells me my brakes are at 3 millimeters, right? They're not going to make it to the next oil change or to the next service. I've got to get this taken care of today, right? Use technology in your benefit, right? Help grow your profits by pictures and videos. Let the video and pictures sell for you, right? I think that's super important, right? And I think Tully and the Nilo Auto Group, what are you guys doing? What's new? What are you doing with video?
So I tell you, video to me is so important, right? And if we look at our tech videos, our goal is that we have evolved our tech videos even stronger by simplifying and keeping them on basic pictures and videos of all reds are mandatory. Last month, 98%, all of them were taking pictures and video. And that includes all the small ROs that you just came back yesterday. Next is if we do those great estimates, and when the technician spends all that time to make those quality inspections, please pay the technicians, by the way. I'll say it one more time. Please pay the technician. Is that as our service advisors actually building the quote? Of course, I'm an X-Time fan, and what do? We build it inside the X-Time suite, which is extremely easy. And guess what we want to do? We want to send 100% of all quotes. Quotes can be a zero quote, nothing on the car. We want to send the video to the customer, and so the technician can show how great quality their car is. But here's the next step: is why don't we send, instead of calling? Who wants to answer the phone? As my daughter says, phones are for old people, Daddy. Is what we want to send a quote. We're going to send that quote with the text, and we'll send a video of the service advisor saying, "Hello, Mr. Skyler, here we are. The car is all ready to go for you. We found absolutely nothing wrong with your car. The technician says your car is in tip-top shape, and we're open till 5. I sent you a quote. I sent you a link so you can pay online, and we can have your car ready for you, or we can drop it off." There's so many things that we can do. Make it easy. It's amazing that we still have people that are not sending quotes to everybody. Are you transparent? Tracking service history. The customer should be able to look at their car and look at the history. The nice thing about our great partner X-Time, what do? The customer can log in as they're making their service appointment and look at all of their service history right there online, which they want to do, or they can do it on their phone. Having transparency in pricing. We don't need to be the most expensive. We just need to be the price of your market, right? These are things that are so important. Videos, 100% inspections, 100% tech videos, 100% quotes sent. And now we're talking about sending service writer videos. And we're super, super excited. Ted, I know you were out here when we did a couple, and I'm telling you, they were just on fire.
And more to come with that. And Skyler, what I like a lot about the Cox Automotive tools, the pictures and videos that both you and Tully are referring to, is that you really remove the friction, from the process, and you make it easy, which is what customers, I believe, are seeking. They want this to be easy. And like you just said, getting those approvals in 6 minutes or less is really key to the process.
Yeah, it's huge. And here, at the end of the day, we're in the business of repeat referral business, right? It doesn't matter if it's the front end or back end. We work together, right? We are a team. We control our consumer experience at our dealerships, and it's all about following your processes, right? There's nothing worse than having a process that you don't follow, right? And I think that we all can agree to those specific things, but I think it's important right? If you do not have trust factors built into your process, I ask you, change your process today, right? Make the change today. Any ADAs coming up, come by the Cox Automotive booth, right? It's important, right? Let us help you understand your data. How can we improve your processes at the end of the day? But most importantly, let's make the consumer feel valued, right? Let's make them feel valued, the car they bought from you, and they should be proud that they bought that car from your name that's sitting on the side of the building, most importantly.
Everybody, if you're watching us live right now, check your email. We've just sent you an email with a link to the Cox Automotive Service Industry Survey that you just saw, where you can go ahead and you can download that. It should be in your email right now if you're watching us live at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Skyler, Chadwick, great information as always.
Yeah, thank you, Ted. Appreciate your time. And Tully, as always, thank you as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Two of the greats here, everybody. Tully Williams with the Nilo Company, Skyler Chadwick with Cox Automotive, and great friends of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. On behalf of the Roundtable, thank you, and Skyler, for your time today.
Thank you.
Tully Williams here again. I am at Jag Land Rover Sac, one of our newest remodeled stores. I'm here to introduce you to the world-class team, starting off with my good friend, Jim Gabbard.
Hello, my name is Jim Gabbard, Sacramento Jaguar Land Rover Service Manager. I want to introduce you to my world-class team.
My name's Frank Jenkins. Welcome to Jaguar Land Rover.
My name is Curtis Davis. I'm the shop foreman here at Jaguar Land Rover Sacramento. I have 15 techs with over 200 years of experience, and I would love to introduce you to them.
I'm Larry Sherman. I'm the parts manager at Sacramento Jag Land Rover. And I want to just thank everybody for being part of a fantastic team. And just remember that parts is the backbone of service, and parts sells hours.
Hi there, my name is Aaron Waters. I'm the president and founder here of OEM Interactive, the digital marketing firm that specializes in online parts and accessory sales. At OEM Interactive, our philosophy has always been very straightforward. Our people, our partners is our purpose. Our team is built of experts not only in marketing and advertising, but also in fixed operations. Our expertise and strategies are proven to supercharge your online parts and accessory sales. Sound good to you so far? Great. Head on over to oeminteractive.com to learn more about partnering with us. OEM Interactive, sell more parts today.
Entering in his suit of armor is the noble knight, Dave O'Brien from Quantum 5.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. David O'Brien is with us. He is the CEO and co-founder of Quantum 5, great friend of the retail community for an awfully long time. Dave, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Oh, man. Thank you, Ted. I actually feel like this is the rest before the storm, right before NADA. So when I saw the dates, I said, man, I'm ready to be with Ted because the timing's just perfect.
You got a lot going on. Now you're going to be at NADA. I understand you're speaking end of the week.
You know, I am so blessed that NADA chose me. This will be my third consecutive year speaking at NADA. Again, honored that they are allowing me to do some work with dealership leaders. You know, this is an important year for leaders in dealerships. I call it the year of moving from leadership thinking to leadership action. And so I put together 5 action strategies that I really believe will make a difference in how they lead a team to success, whether it's fixed, parts, sales, F&I, doesn't matter. So that's what NADA allowed me to build for them this year.
And that quantum team is growing. I'm seeing it and hearing it. And so I see the booth number in the scroll down below, NADA booth number 7113N. So you will be there speaking and the team will be there supporting as well. Wow.
Yeah, we have a good group of folks going. Come by and see us. They of course have wonderful stuff to give away, but they're working on some really great stuff. We'll be announcing our first OEM partnership that'll go across a really wide space of dealers with an OEM. We'll be announcing an all-new frictionless selling approach for dealers. Lots of fun stuff coming up this week.
You and I have had some conversation with some colleagues recently, Brian Kramer, Ed Roberts, where we've talked about that frictionless selling, making it easy for the customer to do business. And I want to ask you today, Dave, about a recent article that I saw that you have out. It says the road to the sale is dead. And I want to ask you about that today, if it's okay, because it got my attention.
Well, I got to tell you, I said it on your event one time in December, I think, when Brian and I were together and we were on one of the late night ones. And my team went, Dave, that's a little aggressive. What did you do? What are you saying? But I really believe, right? I'm a guy who learned the road to a sale as how I sold cars starting in 1980. Do the math. I'm old. But here's the deal, right? All we did was bolt on some digital steps at the beginning of it. And we have been still trying to cram customers into a road to a sale process forever. And I believe firmly that the road to a sale died 15 or more years ago. We just didn't have a service. We didn't do a proper burial. And what you helped me think about, and what Brian and I both believe, because we've known each other so long, right, is that if we don't acknowledge that the road to a sale is dead, we can't move into this new frictionless selling environment that the customer has wanted, Ted, for how long? 30, 40, 50, 60 years? Hey, and I have a belief, and I'll share my belief with you. My belief is that dealers in 2024 are going to continue to be aware and flustered a bit by the changes in the market, the changes in how vehicles are sold. And therefore, if they don't start to think about the enemy of my dealership, the competition for my dealership going forward, it's will others make it easier to buy. And I believe every dealer ought to lose sleep that if they don't know if they're making it easier. May I tell you a quick story? I think the audience will really appreciate this, right? So one of the Quantum team works for a person that you know well, Sarah Van Tine. Her name's Angie. Okay. Angie and her father owned 2 Ford dealerships together. She was the dealer principal on full paper and operations of a Ford store with her dad in Michigan. So Angie and her dad sold the dealerships. And Angie came to work for us in June or July of this year. And Angie, her demo agreement from when she and her dad sold the store expired. Okay. So Angie, getting ready to have her first child, had to buy her first vehicle in her life. You with me so far?
Oh, yeah.
She calls us during the process, calls Sarah. We're on a call like this. And she says to Sarah, she goes, I'm having a really bad day. We said, what's wrong? She goes, all I want to do is buy a Yukon. These people are awful. I've gone to 4 places. This is miserable. I hate this. And we were laughing, right? Because we said, Angie, does it compare to what you used to do? She goes, I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to talk about it. She goes, we have to help fix this. This is terrible. And so I tell you that story because I think this might be the year that every dealer ought to go try and buy a car anonymously from somebody. Because I think we need to figure out, why is it so hard?
It's hard.
Why don't we allow it to be easier? And that's why I say the road to a sale is dead, Ted. I believe we're introducing technology conveniences And then the customer emails or calls us with questions and we go, so Mr. Ings, when can you come in? Is this afternoon or this evening better for you? We go right back to what we've always done.
Dave, why do we have such a hard time building trust historically in our business?
Well, let's remember who the first car dealers were, right? They were people that owned livery stables, right? You can still go on Google and find signs of the first Ford dealership is right next to a livery stable sign by that same owner, right? And livery stables were where they sold horses. And the arguments back then were, you sold me a mule, I paid you for a horse, right? So where did trust begin to get eroded? At the earliest of selling, right? So as you move forward, though, I think today's trust challenge is different, right? Because now we have, and there are talented salespeople, just like there are talented service advisors who give them somebody in person and say, build trust, build relationship with this person. And they go, I know how to do that. Now enter COVID. Now enter all the new conveniences of buying. And you say, hey, can you build trust and credibility with somebody through email, text, and phone call? And they go, no, it's hard. I don't have some of the tools that make me better at it. This is different. And so I think trust and relationship building, they need a new approach in that environment where, how do I build it via email, text, right? And then the broader question, Ted, is how am I going to build relationship and create an experience? One of the things my co-founder, who you know, Ken Herforth, says all the time, right? And people try to sometimes go, okay, tell us exactly what does Quantum do? We're an experience company. We're about helping create learning experiences that cause people to embrace and remember new ways of doing things. Okay, how does that apply to a salesperson or a service advisor today? The differentiator in today's environment, and I think always should have been, but the differentiator today is, Ted, can I create an experience? And if I can't create an experience that therefore builds trust and builds relationship, man, oh man, I got to tell you, the U-turn that people can make digitally is so fast and cost-free.
Yeah.
I just go to another dealer. And the same happens in service, right? Let us not forget that we're still losing 65, 70% of our customers to independent shops. Why is it happening? Because the world is changing and we don't create an experience that makes the customer go, I'm in. I'm in and I'm loyal.
Dave, you were on the show recently. I mentioned Brian Kramer. He was with you, and he gave us a couple examples. But you say that in 2024, moving forward, dealers don't need to be scared of the competition's pricing. I'd love some things you told us about that. But instead, we've got to be scared. The dealers have to be scared of something else. Tell us what it is.
So I think if you look at yourself, if you look at the people you're close to, if you look at how we make value buying decisions today, whether it's clothing, whether it's our vehicle, whether it's our new laptop or a vehicle, right? The currency we shop with is, are you going to make this easy? Does your website take 7 different clicks to get somewhere? Or are you going to make it difficult for me, therefore? I think what dealers ought to be afraid of, I think general managers, I think general sales managers, I think service directors have to be included in this. I think that what they ought to be kept up at night about, worrying about is, will my competition make it easier? Will somebody make buying a vehicle easier than me? Because my friends, I'm just saying, Amazon's not the person you should be fearful of. You should be really fearful of the neighborhood dealer or somebody 100 miles away who wants some of your market share, who says, yep, I'm going to figure out how to make it so a customer goes, it was easy doing business with these people. It was easy servicing my vehicle there. It was easy buying new tires there. Yeah, I think that ought to keep us all up at night if we're running a dealership.
Dave, let's pivot a little bit over to service. And what lens should service departments be looking through in 2024? You know, here we are at the end of January for ultimate success. What do you think?
I think service needs an innovation challenge. What you see Ed Roberts doing was an innovative challenge that he accepted. I think the next challenge is for the customer that doesn't get a mobile service. I think the challenge is, how are we going to help the advisors who today, I'm just saying, they work long hours. The average advisor is writing 18, 19, 20, maybe more ROs a day. They got 2, 3, 4 carryovers from the day before. They're not sure if they have enough loaners to get through the day. Right. The list goes on.
Yeah.
They get there early. They stay till after 5. And how are we going to make the work they do, carrying those 24 repair orders, carrying all the communication that's necessary, answering all the inbound calls, not letting people go to voicemail, delivering an experience, not just a, yep, well, the MPI says you need this. Did you watch the video? Yeah, we got to do that. How do we do that different? I don't know that it's going to happen easily because we're a little more constrained in fix than we are sales. The customer comes in, the car's there, the technician's there, parts are there, but it's going to be somebody. I don't know if it'll be Ed Roberts. I don't know if it'll be Sean. I don't know if it'll be Tully, but somebody has got to this year start going, okay, are we going to switch to a service advisor team? What would a team do? Does it allow different hours? How does it wrap the customer in an experience? Somebody's got to start innovating there because, again, go back to my definition earlier, if you accept it, which is what should keep us up is, are we making it easier? Did I have to call and get your voicemail twice to go, is my car really going to be done at 4? Nobody's updated me, right? How are we going to combine what we do for a service experience that makes somebody go, no, this place is doing it different and I'm in? Makes sense? Or am I crazy?
You're right. You know, reflecting on the most dealerships, not Ed, okay, most dealerships, there are workload challenges, okay, and that affects the advisor's morale, the retention. I know you've studied all of that, okay, extensively and on a high level, and you know, you get it, Dave.
Yeah, you know, we're constantly looking for the answer, but we don't always follow the breadcrumbs back to, I think this is the solution is going to take advisors helping devise the solution. It's going to take the shop foreman helping devise a solution. It's not going to be able to be driven exclusively by a 20 group meeting. I'm not picking on 20 groups, but right, it's not going to get solved there. It's going to require the ground level people to go, hey boss, if we could do this and we could do this, and if my hours were like this, yeah, I would work for this instead of this because I'd have a different kind of life. And we have to follow the breadcrumbs back all the way to the floor of the shop. And we have to listen to those advisors. We need to talk to the greeters We need to talk to the lot attendants that are helping us get cars off the drive and out and keep. Those are where our solutions for the future are going to come from.
Dave, last question. What's one way dealers can start going down this path now, today, here in 2024?
Yeah. So in all seriousness, if we talk about the sales side again for a second, I strongly encourage the dealer to go get themselves a Gmail address. I strongly encourage them to try and buy a car from somebody. I think you need to understand what it feels like, right? We see reports that you see a video of a doctor who got a serious illness, and for the first time in their life, they experienced what it was like to be in a hospital, right? And often you watch these interviews and it totally changes their bedside manner, their communication. Dealers need to go experience a little bit of the pain, right? Of what it's like to buy a car. Because until you figure out from a customer's lens what difficult looks like, you won't know how to go through your shop. So action number one is go shop for a vehicle. Who cares if you have to buy a used car from somebody? It'll be okay. You'll know what to do with it. But go through a process of somebody saying, well, I know you got 5 bids to buy your car online, but we want you to drive it here. Go through the process of somebody telling you the car is there, drive an hour and have them tell you, oh no, we just sold it, but I have another one for you to look at, right? And then go sit with your team, look at the comp plans. There's a whole lot of, I'm touching the third rail here, right? There's a whole lot of comp plans that drive the behavior of, I want them to bring that trade in here because I really want to scoop and hold back some money, right? So let's get serious about figuring out first, what are the problems? What are the pains? Experience them. And then go through your own dealership and start. You don't have to get radical. You better identify them though. You better make a list and you better start going, what's the root cause of these pains? And you better start working on them, because I just promise you there's flat earth coming. There is flat earth coming where the only differentiator of whether you get a deal or whether some of the things about to evolve in our markets happens, the experience and the way your person responds is going to be the differentiator that drives them to you or away from you more than ever.
Everybody, David O'Brien is the CEO and co-founder of Quantum 5. He's built an amazing team, the dream team, if you will, and has made some amazing advances in our industry. You'll see a lot of those being rolled out this year. You can start end of the week at NADA. Dave and his team will be there. Dave is speaking, here it is, on Thursday, February 1st, local time there, 12 o'clock noon, and on Saturday, the 3rd at 1 p.m., 5 leadership strategies that drive performance. The Quantum 5 team and Dave will be at booth 7113N, and I highly advise you to meet with them. Take a look at some of the technology, some of the tools they've got in place. I know firsthand it is industry leading, game changing, reduce the friction. And Dave, thank you so much for being a great friend of the Roundtable and for all your leadership in this space.
Thank you, my friend.
David O'Brien, everybody, the best of the best, here with us today from Quantum 5 at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
So being a legacy automotive retailer, we've used a number of different companies over the years to help us train our people and educate our people on everything from sales process to customer service to you name it, anything relating to retail automotive. But in today's world, particularly since COVID, we really set out to try to find a partner that had a much more progressive, contemporary approach to automotive sales, automotive service, customer relations in general. And when we did that, our research led us to the folks at Quantum 5.
Anything that you can do consistently the same way gets better. So what Quantum gives us the ability to do, or has taught us how to do, is follow a very specific framework that delivers a very specific result every time. And that has been invaluable both to our veterans that have been in the business longer than me and the people that we're hiring new. Quantum came into the store as a partner. They've executed on that on every call, every interaction. And what our veteran staff finds to be the most beneficial is they get to continue to learn.
We know that Quantum is more than a vendor, they're a partner. They're actually a part of our business, a core part of our business and our daily processes. When I got into the car business many, many years ago, it was about control this, control the customer, control this. Well, now customers have as much information as dealers. So now it's more about controlling the process, understanding the customer. And that's what Quantum brings to the table. It allows you to have control of a process, understand your customer and your customer's needs, and deliver the relevant information that they need to make that informed decision, ultimately in purchasing a car, but starting with gaining that critical appointment. Quantum puts our client advisors on a pathway to prosperity. Our newer advisors see our seasoned advisors and the success they're having, and the fact that they're bought into the system and they've been on this system for years shows the new client advisors that if you buy in similarly, you're going to yield the same results, if not better. I can't speak enough to what Quantum has meant to our business and to the growth and development of our client advisors.
Join the Fixed Ops Renaissance. Welcome back to the Knights of the Fixed Ops Roundtable event.
Our next speaker is Interstellar. Please welcome Tyler Nathan from Jupiter Warranty Management.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. It's a great honor to welcome Tyler Nathan. Tyler Nathan is representing a company at the Roundtable called Jupiter Warranty Management, and our topic today is seamless warranty services. Tyler, I guess we're lucky to have you here. It's the end of January and a time that I know that you're typically very busy.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Ted. Appreciate it. And no problem. This is great.
Well, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable and a lot of conversation on this subject. And I want to pick your brain a little bit, if I could, today for our audience. Because, Tyler, there seems to be a trend in the industry, and we're seeing it here at the Roundtable, towards outsourcing warranty administration. I think nobody better than yourself to speak to that. Are you seeing that as well?
Yes, sir. We're seeing a big uptick in just the knowledge of warranty, warranty services. So I've been in the business since 1995, and back in that day, most dealerships didn't even know of such a service. So you spent a lot of time, telling them of our existence, and nowadays, many times dealerships are aware of multiple different companies, and they'll call in and they'll find us on the internet, and it's definitely a different environment for sure. It's exciting to see because there's so many opportunities for dealerships to pick up more money and get their claims process better with experienced admins.
And Tyler, I want to ask you about that because it seems it's getting more and more complex, all right, to be able to file and capture every dollar, everything a dealer is entitled to, and not anything more. But what does the process look like to a dealer? Let's say somebody watching who's considering your services there at Jupiter.
Yeah, so first thing is our service is very seamless. So what we do is we log right into the DMS. We actually collect the repair order information that way. So what we do is we'll read the technician's story. We'll look at the time punches in there, as long as they're ERO. Sometimes the advisors have to key some additional information in if they're not. So, but most dealerships are ERO nowadays. That means electronic repair order, where they're typing and clocking in the system. So we'll read all that information. We'll put the labor operations in. This saves a huge amount of time from the advisors or technicians or the service manager from having to book the claims. We'll close the repair orders in a timely fashion, so we can do this daily. And then we'll submit them to the manufacturer. We'll follow through till they're paid. We even post payments for them and clean up their adjustments, and we manage the warranty schedule for them. So it's really a full service solution from start to finish. That's one of the reasons why we call it warranty management, not just warranty administration or processing.
I want to talk to you a little bit about communication and how important that is. What differences should a dealer expect from your services versus, let's say, having their own in-house warranty administrator, which I imagine when they come to you, that's probably what they've had for some time.
Yeah, recently I wrote an article on this, the do's and don'ts of warranty administration, and that in Auto Exec magazine. But the article was about where a lot of sometimes dealerships fail in putting in a warranty system. And so one of the things that we do that's very different is we come out to the dealership, we meet with them in person, we help go over things with their technicians and their advisors to make sure that everybody's aware of compliance and that there's a good communication process set up between us and the dealership. Because a big part of it with outsourcing is that you have to have the required information in the repair order. And sometimes in an in-house situation, the admin is running around the shop, cleaning up all these little pieces of things that the technicians and advisors and management should have made sure was done before that admin ever received the repair paperwork. So our system kind of creates that accountability, and as a dealer uses the service and implements it, the quality of their repair orders will improve, because we're going to help them take that information right to the source, to the advisor. We're not going to tie up the service manager and make him our assistant, so he or she is running around, getting all this information for us. Instead, we're going to empower them so that they can manage their people better, get better quality claims, and then we'll code the claims properly and get them paid to the fullest.
That communication part is important. I remember being in dealership, and the warranty administrator, when they're in-house, typically is out there. They're communicating with the techs, all right, making sure that all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, and same thing with the advisor. And a lot of times that, one of the concerns is, are we going to have that good communication when we outsource it?
Yeah, absolutely. That communication is key. So we, like I said, one of the things we do is we'll email the advisor directly, CC management. We also have a new portal that we're about ready to roll out. As a matter of fact, it's in testing phase right now. And the portal is going to allow groups or even managers to actually see all open tickets, if you will. And an open ticket would be anything that we've made a request from the dealer for information. And so, and that just kind of it's a better management tool. But our current system is that we help them set that process up internally.
Warranty accounts for such a big percentage of receivables to that fixed ops department. And it's not going away. It's only growing. It's increasing. And also increasing is that complexity. You alluded to that as well. Each OEM, has its own nuances. I would imagine it's important to have specialized administrators. What do you say about that?
Yeah, absolutely. That is one of the things about our company that is different than many in the industry. So we would never at TBF Jupiter, when you hire us, you get skilled warranty administrators, skilled in the manufacturer that you need help in. And with skilled labor, there's always limits. So sometimes, unfortunately, dealers will come to us and they'll be in a bind. Now, most of the time we can help them, almost always. But there are times when we've maybe taken in too much of a particular manufacturer and we just do not have room. And one of the things that we do to protect our current accounts and protect the dealer that needs help is that we will turn that business away if we can't handle it. So it's always better to be proactive and contact us before you're in an emergency, just to be sure that we have the time to fit that volume in. Normally our turnaround time could be even under 2 weeks. Normally it's about 2 weeks or less, and we can get services started up. But in some cases, if we're tapped out, we're never going to take, let's say, a Toyota admin and have them do your Chrysler claims. We just don't do that here at TBF. We're going to give you a skilled administrator that's skilled in the line that you need help with.
So let's go back to that skilled administrator, and the importance that they're specialized. I agree with that. How do they stay on top of all the, go back to that complexity, if I could, all the changes and all the updates? How do you folks do that? Because I know it's tough for the dealers to do that and capture every dollar.
Yeah, well, first off, a lot of times dealers need to almost look at it like it's a second language. I mean, think about it. Everybody has their first language, or at least most people, unless they grew up in a home where it was bilingual from the start. But most of us think in our primary language, and then we have to kind of translate into another language. And that's kind of what happens with administrators too. When you get a jack of all trades administrator, they're never going to be as good at all of those lines as they are with the first or second line that they do. So generally here at TBF Jupiter, we have a few folks that are amazing and can do a few lines, but for the most part, we load them up with 1 to maybe 2 lines so that they become extremely experienced in it. And another thing that we do that's different is that we have a team of people that back our admins up. So in other words, they post the payments. That's separate. That's not our warranty admin who does that. And we also they reconcile the statement. That allows our admins to actually process more claims. It's not unheard of for our admins to do $700,000-$800,000 worth of warranty in a particular make in a month. So something that's very unusual for the dealer to stumble across is pretty routine for us. And that's where our experience becomes exceptional in our warranty administration, and how we're able to follow all the rules, collect the extra money that's available.
Tyler, I want to talk to you a little bit about compliance. Dealers are under, and are going to be under, more scrutiny than ever. The Safeguards Act is out, the CARS Act, and not only compliance, but data security. The warranty administrator, as well as the service advisor, even in the front end, the finance office, just can't leave things out that are unlocked and available that somebody can access. And, that compliance is going to be more and more important moving forward into this year. What does Jupiter do? What do you do to protect that type of information?
Yeah, first off, we want to caution, dealers. It is true that, your data security is always a concern for, every dealership. And one of the things that you should be careful of is any vendor that would reach in and grab data, pull it out, manipulate it, and then stuff it back in. Because if something were to happen, if they had a virus, or if there was something to happen where those files get corrupted, it could take your system down and cause you all kinds of problems. And so with us, we don't pull any data and push any data back into the DMS. What we do is literally each one of our admins has a laptop provided by us, and it's virus protected and controlled. We also, our admins then will log right into the DMS, and they'll only have access to the screens that are provided to them by the dealership. And they will then process the claims just as if they were at the dealership. So we don't pull information out, like I said, or push anything back in there. We are just, our skilled admins are working right within that DMS. So there's no chance of anything getting corrupted.
Tyler, it's an important topic and extremely timely. Okay. The warranty services that Jupiter Warranty Management provides. Anything else you'd like to share with our audience here today?
Yeah, just that 30 to 70% of warranty, of a dealership's fixed ops revenue is warranty administration. Some folks think it's going to go up. Whether it goes up or goes down, in the end, what you should do with that revenue is make sure that you're collecting all of it, for one. And number two is if it can be done more efficiently. So in other words, most of our dealerships save money just from hiring us to process the claims on the front end, from doing it in-house. And we can look at that and look at the amount of labor you're paying, and you will see that we're actually cost less. Plus, we do a better job. We help you create more accountability. We're reliable. We're not going to leave you for vacations and so forth. And so it just makes the right sense to sign up for the service and then get all the benefits thereof.
You got a busy week this week, end of the month, and then at the end of the week is NADA in Las Vegas. Will you be there?
Yes, sir. We're at booth 1900W. So please come and see us at the booth. We'd love to talk with you.
All right, everybody. You could see Tyler's information scrolling in the ticker down below. If you're going to be out at NADA this weekend, Tyler will be there with the Jupiter team. Tyler, with your permission, I'm going to invite you back on the roundtable, and let's take this up a couple notches on our next conversation and dig a little deeper into warranty administration. And Tyler, I appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Ted. I'd be honored. I look forward to it.
All right, everybody. Tyler Nathan, everybody, here with Jupiter Warranty Management, here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you.
As consumer buying habits evolve, it's only natural for your dealership to grow too. The key is providing a seamless, engaging experience for your customers while also ensuring long-term dealership success. Introducing Retail Anywhere, a dealership-wide process that enables you to meet your customers' needs without sacrificing what's really important to you: profitability, accuracy, and efficiency. Here's what this looks like in the service department. A customer visits your website to schedule a service appointment. She's able to view current vehicle information, past vehicle repairs, needed maintenance, and previously declined work. With the click of a button, she selects repairs needed and schedules a service appointment. She arrives for her appointment, bypasses the line at the counter, and easily checks in by scanning her mobile QR code at a self-service kiosk. She also selects 2 add-ons offered to her and drops off her keys. As the technician performs the multi-point inspection, he tracks recommended work electronically. He links images and videos of repairs to the digital RO and lets the advisor know the inspection is complete. Pricing and parts availability are automatically tied to the digital RO, so the advisor simply sends a link to the customer to review and approve the work. When the customer receives the link, she is able to see all recommended repairs, including pictures and videos of her vehicle. She accepts one of the jobs, but declines the other. At the dealership, the advisor, technician, and parts department receive the customer's updates, and the approved work is started right away. Declined work is flagged for future opportunities. Once the work is completed, the customer receives another text alert with a link to view her invoice. She pays securely online and heads to the dealership to pick up her vehicle. It's after the service department is closed, so she checks out using a kiosk and receives her keys. Retail Anywhere is built on a single system, single process approach. It allows customers to schedule, review, and approve work on their terms, whether in-store, online, or both, while still allowing your dealership to retain profitability, accuracy, and efficiency. Retail Anywhere, without sacrificing anything.
The Fixed Ops Roundtable Certified Program is designed to help preferred dealers and partners with powerful tools and resources.
Learn more at fixedopsroundtablecertified.com.
Meet us in the town square for our next segment, the Aftermarket panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We've been talking for a long time about doing an aftermarket panel with aftermarket experts, and here we are today, finally, 5 years later, rolling it out. I want to introduce everybody, if you don't know already, Richard Lupo. Richard Lupo is the service director at Appletree Honda and Acura. He's in Asheville, North Carolina. Sam Caldwell is with us today. He's a student at Northwood University in Midland, Michigan. He's also the operations chair for the 2024 International Auto Show at Northwood and has a lot of responsibility going on there. Tully Williams with the Nilo Company, fixed operations director in Sacramento. Jami Alexander is with us today. First time on the Fixed Ops Roundtable, a big star on LinkedIn, and that star is growing and growing, so we're fortunate to have her with us.
Yeah.
And of course, our extraordinary technician, Marco Zwanenburg, founding father of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Marco, welcome back to the event.
Awesome to be here, guys.
All right. Richard, you've got a unique background, not only as a dealership service director, but real quick, give us some of your background and then I'll let you roll and get the questions going.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on myself, but I was born into the business. My father owned an aftermarket repair shop when I was born, grew up in the business, cut my teeth with a couple of aftermarket companies, became a Midas franchise owner at one point, had some gas stations and towing business, and made a transition into the dealership many years ago, and found myself as the fixed director here at Apple Tree Automotive now. So definitely straddled both sides of this industry. I know, Tully, you have a very similar background, and so I hope to get some unique perspectives from different segments of the industry this evening.
All right, let's do it.
I want to start. So we've got the OG of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, Marco, with us, and privileged to have him tonight. And we recently received as a industry the Cox study that just came out saying that the dealerships are losing real ground to the aftermarket right now in terms of service visits. And Marco, I think that there's an opportunity for us as an industry and from a dealership perspective to drive home the value of a certified technician working on your car. And I don't think that we're doing a good job bringing the value of what that is to our customers. So why don't you lead off the discussion tonight and talk to us about that?
No, I fully agree with you. I think we are leaving a lot on the table when it comes to building the trust and retention with customers on that. One of the few things customers really do not know is that when you have your car serviced at the dealership, not only is the technician working on your car fully trained on all the latest and greatest information about your car, but we also have direct access to the manufacturer should we come across something that has us stumped. We can contact technical assistants. We can contact the parts departments from other dealerships should we need something like on the spot that is not available at that time. Another good thing to know is that for most brands that I've worked for, you have a nationwide warranty, which a lot of times includes if you have to overnight stay somewhere because of your repair, it is included in the warranty coverage, not just from the new car warranty, but also you get a warranty when you have your vehicle serviced or repaired at a dealership. So there's a lot of stuff that we leave out on the table. And just we have this notion over us that the dealership charges a lot, but for what? Well, here's your for what. We leave a lot laying on the table, and we need to definitely bring this out in the open every time we service a vehicle, every time we talk to a customer. Hey, did you know that?
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, we do as a dealership, we offer so much that we take for granted because we walk around with rental cars and parts departments and access to tech support and engineers and all that stuff. And that stuff's all at our fingertips. And we're really missing the boat on driving home that value proposition to our customers. And we're going to get Jami and Sam to bring some of their perspective into it. But Tully, did you have it? I'm sure you had a chance to read through that. And what did you bring away? What did you come away with when you read that study? What did you see?
Well, the difference here is it's interesting that we have an aftermarket panel because these two businesses are differently unique. As and if you go back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and then probably the 90s, we probably got our but the issue is that is that when we're in the aftermarket world, every customer matters. Every customer matters. When I had an independent for 14 years, right? And every customer mattered, right? So when you come to the dealership in the early years, we didn't care, right? After the warranty's up, honestly, we didn't really want to work on your car anyways, right? And now, wow, has it changed in 2024? And when you look at that Cox study, is that the dealerships, are still not trusted enough. Now, we do an incredible job, and there's great dealerships that run great organizations, but how is our retention, right? And our retention, some of our stores is 70%, which is the holy grail in our business, right? But I think that we have to work on what can we do to customers to gain trust? What do we do? Videos. Tech videos are the best thing that ever came out, right? Electronic inspection guaranteed on every car. Our goal is to eliminate the issue of distrust. And when it comes to price, we might be a little bit heavier on the repair side because we are factory trained.'re not practicing on the car. But when it comes down to maintenance items and things like that, we're actually very competitive with the aftermarket. So you have to, how your business works. So I look at this study is I'm shocked, and I'm concerned. And I talk about our CSI scores, which means because customer supplies income, right? I'm talking about making sure that every rider, every porter, every manager, everybody understands the importance of keeping customers happy all the time, because we have to gain that trust. And when you gain that trust, the service advisor is what? We call those key tossers, right? Yep. Here's the keys, fix the car. That's the holy grail. And that is because we've gained that trust. So all I can say is trust is build those great technician to customers, service writer to customer relationships. And I say it starts with videos.
I want to get back to you on one thing. I'm going to follow up with that about how do you feel consolidation is playing a role in that, if any? But I want to bring Jami into the discussion. Jami, so glad to have you here tonight. So
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I apologize. Go ahead. Sorry.
Jami, what are you seeing at your everyday boots on the ground in an aftermarket facility? What do you see? What are your customers telling you that are driving you, that are driving them to you away from the service visits at a dealership?
It's funny because I was reading this Cox, article as well, and one thing that interested me was that the customer talked about price, but when you look at the prices, we're not far apart. The aftermarket may be a little bit under to attract, but with the technician shortage that we have going on right now, I think everybody's wanting to charge fair going rate for labor because it's a specialized skills and it's hard to retain. One thing that I'm hearing from my customers with being boots on the ground as far as the dealership is the wait time to get in, the parts issues and waiting on parts, with the service recalls and things like that. Time is very valuable to our customers nowadays. I mean, we were instant gratification before instant gratification was cool in this industry. Yes. And then we had the 08, I think our consumers started really wising up in 08. This started way back in 08, if not before, when we had the true car come out, we had the internet really exploding. And so I think where the disconnect happens is I don't think we trust enough in our customers that they're smart enough to do their research, and we're not doing, to Marco's point with the technicians, we're not doing our job up front. And that again goes to, we've got to get back to walking in each other's shoes. There needs to be support from the counter in the shops with the counter. They need to understand each other. They need to work together. And I think by doing that, we're going to build the value, and then we can train to why we're charging this much for this technician, why we're doing that. And I think personally, in my opinion, that's what the customer is looking for.
Okay. And so Sam, welcome. And you're getting ready to graduate right now from the aftermarket school in Northwood, right?
Yes.
And you've taken on a bunch of responsibilities as you're coming up to the graduation part, huh?
Yes,
and,
I have.
Right there in Detroit, huh? You've got the The family business is Meineke as well. Is that correct?
Yes, my father owns a Meineke Car Care Center.
So with all of your newfound knowledge and the energy coming out with your education, where are you prepared to go? Where do you see Meineke 5 years from now? Where's the business going?
Well, times are changing. We all know that.
Yes.
My generation of people, it's a hard thing to understand, but I guess I'm understanding it more than others because I am one of them, is that our generation has a hard time working. It's as true as it sounds. And I know I sound like my father speaking there, but it's true. And, the people that want to go out of their way and get their car done at a shop, a Meineke, for instance, they want to trust the business. It all comes down to trust. The back end needs to work well, but the front end needs to be polite, respectful, willing to make changes to that person that's walking in the door to accommodate them. So in 5 years, I see e-commerce and online sales being huge. It needs to be to stay in business. User-friendly websites are very important, along with expanding and optimizing sales channels. That can be done through many ways. Also with like digital marketing and customer engagement, that's very important. Customer engagement is the way us small shops survive. It's all about the person you meet behind that counter and the work that's done getting in the back. But that first person you meet and shake their hand and they show you they care is what's important. And it helps those people come back to our shop. And a lot of our business is done through repetitive customers. Make them feel like a family. A lot of women are scared to come into shops because they feel like they're going to get taken advantage of or just be lied to about their car. And we don't want it to seem like that at all. We want it to be a very friendly atmosphere and one you look forward to coming back to. Specialization in niche markets. That is something in the Detroit area that is very important to us. Where you guys are all from, probably there's a lot of foreign cars on the road. Here in Detroit, there's the big three. That's pretty much it. You'd be surprised to see anyone with a Toyota driving around. But there are people with Toyotas and Hondas along those lines. A lot of shops around here don't even work on them. They focus just on the big three. It's a pretty weird sight to see. But being able to work on those cars as well is something that we've realized as a Meineke franchise, that it's where we make some good money at. And being able to work on those cars is important as well. And enhanced customer experience, like I was talking about. Invest in customer service training for everybody. It doesn't matter who it may be. Even the mechanics. We like to have the mechanics speak to the customers at sometimes too. They need to know how to speak to people and work on the car at the same time. So that's very important.
Absolutely. All good stuff. Great stuff, Sam. And Tully, I want to follow back up with you. We see this trend, and alongside that trend, we've seen a bunch of consolidation over the last, probably decade, but a lot since COVID. And do you think that that's playing a factor in any of this?
You mean consolidated dealerships?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that what's happened is that you look at corporate stores, 10, 20 years ago, they were very corporate-y. When you look at the best dealerships to work for, Penske is the number one guy, right? His stores are run. Now, does Penske demand excellence? Absolutely, as we do at the Needle Company, as I'm sure, Richard, you do as well as your stores. But what you're finding out is corporate stores realize the value of humans, the importance of employee satisfaction. I believe that employee satisfaction is first and customer satisfaction is second. And I think that the big group stores have figured that out. Now, they do a lot of other things that are probably a little too greedy-ish on my part, but I think that they have learned that people are their best asset. And as as our dealer says here at the Nilo Company, we've been in business for 102 years. We're in the people business, right? Oh, by the way, we fix cars and sell cars on the side, right? So I think that groups have figured that out. And I think a lot of independents haven't yet. Independent dealers and probably on the aftermarket as well. Their employees are their best asset. Marco, Sam said it well, and Marco said it in the past, right? Is that training, right? Being them involved. Marco said, yeah, I'll pay him $85 to come out here. He said, Tully, it's not about the money. It's about the quality of work, the quality of where you're at is the biggest thing. I would 100% agree. Money is a byproduct, but the quality of the employee. So getting back to the question, consolidation, I feel, is that the dealerships that are struggling because they don't want to go to the next level in advancement. They don't want to pay more money out, or their kids are like, I just want the money and run. The corporate stores are going to win that battle. They have all the money to do that. And my biggest competition, right, is, AutoNation. AutoNation does a good job. Penske, I'm glad there's not a Penske store in my market, honestly, right? Because they do a really good job. So I think that consolidation is something that we all need to be careful of. And then here's the deal. My bar is above them. Right. And that's what we have to, that's what we make sure that your store is above them. Like Sam was talking about all the advancements they want to do in aftermarket. We're there, right? We're doing all those things. We have the ability to spend more, right? So, we have videos, we have websites, we do marketing, we do all this training, right? We just got to make sure that we value our employees and of course, then value our customers.
Well said, sir. Well said. Marco, anything to add on that? As far as you've been with Naples Import for quite a long time, right?
I've been with them for 4 years, and with Mercedes-Benz of Naples for 12 years. So,
what kept you?
What kept me, especially in this dealership, is management and the way that personnel is treated, the bond that we have, our whole atmosphere. We're very family orientated. It's the employees come first, like Tully says. Employees come first. Is the brands that I'm working on, are they great? No. After almost 30 years of being in this business, yes. It doesn't matter what is stamped on the hood. They will all break down. They will all give you issues. But what keeps me there, it's not the money. It's the camaraderie that we have. It's management that stands behind the employees, sometimes in front of the employees. That's what's going on in my dealership, and that is why I'm staying. And you can ask, our good friend Joe Lockhart. He has tried, bless his heart, but you're not going to get me out of this dealership. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to come up with something pretty special.
I've already tried. He ain't coming to California.
Right. Oh, okay. Now, the only problem is the manufacturers themselves. Unfortunately, and Jami and I had this conversation about parts not too long ago. What happens when parts go on intergalactic back order when they're made out of unobtainium? We cannot go on Amazon. We cannot call Worldpac. We have to adhere by what the manufacturer mandates to use. Sometimes that means that, yes, we're going to have cars sitting around for days, weeks, sometimes even months, I'm afraid to say. But it happens, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about that. And that hurts our reputation. Not only does it hurt reputation, it hurts trust. It hurts that the customer wants to come back to the dealership, because guess what? Jami can make a phone call and have the part from a local warehouse right there in the store. We cannot do that as dealership employees. Same with, we have to adhere by the dealership, the manufacturer's labor times, which is unfortunately driving technicians like myself out of the dealership and into the hands of the arms of independents, because they pay better and they have better labor times. So it's a long struggle. It's not just the camaraderie that we have. It's not just the culture in the dealerships. Eventually, that will crumble under the pressure of the manufacturers. That will make it just near impossible for good seasoned technicians to make a decent living. And that is the real danger, if you ask me.
There definitely is wage pressure in respect to times, warranty times, and NCP times. And there are some great groups out there doing some very innovative things to claw back some of that time and reimbursement from the manufacturers. I think one of the common thread that we can put through here between the aftermarket and dealerships is we got to take care of our people. And if we take care of our people, they'll take care of our customers. I think that's as true. And the adage that people don't quit companies, they quit bosses. We hammer that home again. So Jami, you had some thoughts on technicians and the way that you're, I'm sorry, I have to edit that. Jami, you had some thoughts that you wanted to get on your technicians. Well, the last time that we had you, man, oh, day, I am so sorry, Ted.
Richard, just keep rolling. Keep rolling.
Jami, I wanted to get back to you about, you were telling us about your technicians, and did you want to expand on that a little bit more?
As far as the technicians, as far as understanding the shops and billing the labor rate?
Well, more, you talked about getting technicians from from dealerships.
Yes.
And so tell us about what's driving them to you.
Well, I think it goes back to Marco's point. A good technician, it can appreciate the shop flow and understands the value of the rack being down just as much as we do, in whether we're the general manager or on the parts counter. So I think with the ability to get parts, and plus the advantage of having an aftermarket world is a lot of times aftermarket can fix dealership flaws. Like the Volkswagen water pumps that came with plastic fins that never, I could never understand why an engineer would put plastic on coolant. You could get the metal fins. So a lot of times the aftermarket can improve where the dealership can't, because to Marco's point, we have to, and technicians get frustrated. They do get frustrated with the warranty work because of a badly designed engineering flaw and things like that. And then also back to Marco's point with the labor rate, people forget that labor is for, brand new nuts and bolts. That labor guide, it doesn't take into effect for if they're being driven in Michigan, Sam, with the rust and everything else. And so we have that freedom to look and send that digital inspection and show the customer that this thing is piled with rust, and our brake job is not going to do this, and so that goes back to the training and being able to, you don't want to overcharge customers. You want to build the trust, but building that trust is being able to accurately explain and show them why this is the cost of it. It's about being fair. It's about being honest. And then by doing that, your technicians are happy because you're getting the continual work. Retention is a problem industry-wide. And I know that this is an aftermarket versus dealership, but let's be real. This is a systematic issue. And if we don't work together as an industry, our reputation is only going to be as good as the worst ran independent shop or the best ran dealership. We've got to work together, manufacturers, everything, all the way down to get this industry back to where it needs to be.
There's a lot of customer mistrust across all segments of the business. I have to agree with you, and we need to work together to build that back. Sam, what are you going to do when you hit the ground to bring those customers the trust that they need?
At the end of the day, technology is taking over, but face-to-face handshakes, that is what's going to keep your business afloat. Being able to talk to somebody and have knowledge about that product and teach them, and so they know knowledge about it, is something that I find very important. And in the sales industry and throughout, just having the trust in yourself is something that I consider very important, that the person that is talking to you will trust in you as well.
And what are you going to do to get those Zoomers to go to work?
I don't know, man. I'm trying as hard as I can, but some people just like sitting on the couch all day.
And Tully, I know that our friend Ed has 150,000 technicians under the age of 22, but not all of us have that. What where are you finding success bringing younger people into your shop?
Well, I love that. So, we have 160, I think 162 technicians, but what we do have is we also have another 15 called shop assistants. So what I like believing is that I think we need to have a plan. When the technician comes in, the porter that wants to convert over to the shop, a person that's in a trade school that wants to come to work for us, right? We got to have a plan to 55. That's the plan. How do I get him trained to make $55 an hour? That's what our top box is right now, right? So our goal is that. So when we look at youngins, right, and a lot of times we get them from the driveway, or we get them from trade schools, or if they want to come in and try that industry out, right? We have to have them be a mentor. And Ed's probably best at it of all of us, right? But we have a mentor for those. So those shop assistants are what? Are working side by side with a technician. And then that technician gets to utilize those hours for himself if he decides to let him work on the car or not. And that training there could be a month or a year. And also, we're interviewing that that newbie for that period of time. And then when that person is available where he thinks he can make it, we put him as an hourly technician, and we make that 50% of the hours forecast that we want. And that technician there then has a plan how to get to the next level. And when he's an hourly technician, we want him to have that ability to make extra money, just not be that guy that's going to make, those poor guys making $20 an hour or $30 an hour and make no money. So if he achieves certain thresholds, we give him extra money. What a concept, right? And then what we do is we monitor that. And we don't want anybody stuck on a lube rack, because that's what the worst thing about dealerships are, right? Yes, you get stuck on a lube rack and you never get off of it. We don't want everybody stuck on a lube rack, because here's the deal. I don't have a tech shortage. I'm going to say it out loud. Don't have a tech shortage because I'm building technicians constantly. Yes, are we always looking for great talent? Yes, we are. And we have these abilities of shop assistants, right? We have then hourlies, and then we have an hourly advanced, and then we get into the flat rates, and we show them in writing how the pathway is. And I'm telling you, it's don't screw up cars, make people happy, and train, and you will make more money. And that's what we do. Here's the last thing. Evaluations monthly. Tell them how great they are. This is not a bad thing. This is a good thing. Marco would come into my office if I was a service manager, and we go over his stats I print out for all of my technicians, and we get to tell them how great they are the last 4 months, talk to them about it, write it down, have great conversations with your technicians. I feel a lot of times what we don't have is we don't do evaluations enough. Because if you do evaluation once a year, what do they want? Pay raises. You want to tell them how great they are daily, and then you want to put it in writing monthly.
That's fantastic.
Love it,
fantastic advice. Margo, are you mentoring? Are you giving back?
Always. Always. I mean, you see me on LinkedIn. You see me talking about the woes and the pros of the industry. Same at work. Anyone that wants to talk to me, let's sit down. Let's have a chat. I mean, I'll bring it to you the way it is. It's not always roses, but it's not always bad either. As long as things are moving, I will have a job and I will make money. And as I always say, me as a technician, you guys need me. I don't need you. You fire me before I walk out the store, I have 3 other jobs lined up. So,
amen, brother.
We're good.
But we're never going to let that happen.
That's right, Tully. Still rich and tired.
And Marco, it leads us to the proverbial question: what would Marco do?
Marco just keeps on swinging wrenches, no matter what it is. Fix it.
Fix it. And fix it right the first time.
Absolutely.
Great job, panel. I want to thank everybody for being here today. Let's do this again. Richard Lupo, our moderator from Appletree, Honda, and Acura. Sam Caldwell from Northwood University. Thank you so much. Marco Zwanenburg. It doesn't get any better. All right. Jami Alexander, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Thank you for all you do. Great input. Took a lot of notes today. And Tully Williams, I got to tell you, a lot of notes on the stuff. Tully, it doesn't get old. It gets better and better. All right. Everybody, the Aftermarket panel here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our revolutionary pop-up events have sparked a new wave of growth and innovation.
Become part of the brand that is shaping retail fixed operations at fixedopsroundtablecertified.com.
Take a moment now to pull out your phones to scan the QR code on your screen to vote for the Best Practice Awards that will be announced at the end of the event. Remember, every vote counts. Help influence who will have a seat at the round table by voting for the 5 speakers or panelists who you think are the knights in shining armor. And don't forget, you can only vote once. You are totally going to want to tune in to our next speaker. It is Gary Graves from TotalCX.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Gary Graves is with us. He's the CEO of a company called TotalCX, great friend of the retail automotive community. Gary, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, Ted. It's a pleasure to be here.
A pleasure to meet you. You're in a great spot right now. You know, the automotive industry is going through so much, and it's an exciting time in our industry. And as you and I were talking in the green room, I mentioned that here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, there's been no more important topic than the phones, I would say, over the last 2 years. So, Gary, congratulations to you. You're in a great position in our beloved retail automotive industry.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and TotalCX and how you benefit some of the folks who are watching and listening today.
Sure. So I came into automotive, quite by accident. My partner kind of drugged me in, kicking and screaming as a result of a bad experience he had in a service department. So this is, I don't know, about 18 years ago. And, we entered the space competing with the likes of Who's Calling, Callbright, CallSource. If you remember those companies.
Yes.
And it's been a long and rewarding, journey, kind of navigating the space and making friends and partnerships and earning customers and market share. It's been really an interesting ride. We started as Interactive Tel. We changed our name about 2 years ago to TotalCX. It was indicative of the change in our vision from providing, just marketing and tracking lines to advocating for a better customer experience across the automotive retail sector.
I remember a lot of those names, and a lot of those companies, came on the scene and worked with a lot of dealers. But tell us a little bit more about that transformation and why you decided to change the name, and kind of give us the lay of the land and where it's headed from here.
Absolutely. So with great power comes great responsibility. And we had the ability to record every inbound and outbound call with transcription that equates to a tremendous amount of information that extends well beyond the buying cycle. This is the service cycle, people coming in for subsequent oil treatments and plates and recall, so forth and so on. So the relationship that a consumer has with the dealership doesn't end, when they drive off the lot with the new car. It continues. And we had the ability to give additional insights, additional information about the customer experience that would serve that dealer and that relationship with each individual customer for years to come. That vision extended well beyond Interactive Tel's initial mission, and the best way to capture that and represent ourselves to the market was, a name change.
Okay, makes sense. And you've done a lot of the legwork in redefining a lot of the things for our audience. A number of those things include customer experience. Okay, CX, the buying cycle, customer effort. Would you share some of those with us today and the meaning behind those?
Sure. So customer experience, let's talk about that in the customer journey. So it all starts with awareness. There are 5 stages of customer experience. Awareness, the customer becomes aware of a brand through marketing efforts, referrals, word of mouth, et cetera. Research. Okay, so now they want to know more about this brand. They look at Google reviews or different reviews online to see how they measure up, or they may even visit the store or call the store. Then during the buying process, they'll settle on a product and have interactions with the salespeople and make a decision to buy or not buy with that dealership. If they do buy with that dealership, then they go to the 4th phase, which is service or support, servicing that vehicle. The last and final stage of consumer experience, the one that is the penultimate goal, is to convert that customer to loyalty, meaning that they will, every vehicle that they buy, every referral, they give unsolicited reviews that are positive. This is the golden era of the consumer journey that you want to drive everyone towards. And redefining ourselves, our biggest hurdle up front was to change the way that the industry views customers, and understand that the customers have a perspective as well. And advocating for that perspective is in the best interest of the dealer.
Talk to us a little bit about customer effort as well. What is customer effort, and the thoughts behind that?
Sure. So if you're going to buy a car and the vehicle you want, let's just say we're going to make it really easy. The vehicle you want, and you've even found online that it says that this particular store has that particular vehicle. How much effort does it take for you to indicate your interest, confirm availability, get to the dealership, test drive, transact, and leave with the vehicle? It starts with the phone call. When you first call, how long does it take before you talk to someone? If that's the route you go, if you submit a message for a call back or a text back or start a chat, how long does it take before you're talking to a person or you have an appointment? All of that effort and time spent restating yourself. Oh, I'm interested in this vehicle. Then you call in, hey, what vehicle? Oh, I'm interested in this vehicle. So now you stated it twice. So all of that effort that a consumer makes to buy something that they're interested in, that they have the money or the credit or trade in that's of value, that they have to exert in order to satisfy their shopping effort.
So it's sort of like taking a look at the friction involved, or the potential friction involved, removing that, making it easy for the customer to transact business. And if we can make it easy, Amazon is the proof in the pudding, right? Look what happens when we make it easy, right? And we come back again and again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and everyone's a consumer, at the end of the day. And I'm sure you've had instances, whether it was your cell phone company or somewhere, that you put your account number in, then you get transferred, and the first thing they ask you for is, what's your account number? And you're like, so that feeling that you have of your wasted time, your wasted effort, the redundancy, when aggregated over, several days, because a lot of times, buying a car isn't the same day, close. Sometimes it's multiple days. But when you add that all up, that quantified, effort is what we're trying to minimize.
Are you able to measure that? For example, the customer intent and the customer frustration. Are you able to use tools that help the dealer understand, exactly what's happening at their dealership?
Absolutely. And we're in a position to not only do that, for a particular customer, but we can do it across our customer base, across brands, to help our customers understand, how they compare, to others exerting, the same amount of effort. These things are measurable by how many transfers, how many times are they placed on hold? How many times are the customers, repeating themselves? How many times does that customer call back? So if you have a customer that's called a dealership more than one time in a day, the amount of dissatisfaction between each call increases exponentially. And this is, something that we've discovered, in researching these types of issues for our customers.
So are you able to help dealers, again, back on the service side and on the fixed op side, who've already bought the car? I would imagine it can be extremely frustrating waiting not only to get the phone answered, but perhaps if you're transferred more than, probably shouldn't even be transferred, right, in a perfect world, but let alone a cold transfer as opposed to a warm one. But I would imagine the frustration would build very easily because as consumers, we're not very tolerant of those types of things anymore.
And this is very true. And here and there, I've been known to throw out some provocative ideas, and here's one that just came out recently, which is 65 to 70% of all calls to dealership are for service status or service inquiry or to schedule service. So wouldn't it make sense to have all calls ring into the service department? Right now, that would require some re-engineering and some rethinking around staffing and other concerns. But at the end of the day, you're providing a customer experience that's bar none.
Great point. And if you look at some of the more modern dealerships and the way dealerships are being designed today by some of the more progressive manufacturers, they've removed the silos from sales and service. Everything is kind of one now. You come in and there's no wall separating the service area with the customer lounges, the service advisors from the sales department. It's all one. So really, they're beginning with the end in mind, if you will, with coming into the service department there.
Yeah, and it's also like if you think of like East Berlin or West Berlin or apartheid or things like that, where they used to have this line of demarcation where on the sales side people are treated, like royalty. On the service side, they're treated like, the peasants. And I know those are extreme, descriptions, but it's not too far from, what historically has been the truth.
I've heard you speak about the frustration, upset, and dissatisfied and abandoned customers. I think you gave it, there's an acronym. Am I saying it right? FUDA?
Yep.
Okay. Tell us about the impact of that as well, because I think it relates to some of the things that you've just been telling us also.
Yeah, and it also relates to how you're able to measure, these exact, attributes. If they're frustrated, upset, dissatisfied, or abandon the call, and these are all departures from a good relationship and detractors from driving, a customer, towards loyalty. And the good thing is that it's entirely preventable in most cases. Sometimes you have just a person that's a Grinch or a Scrooge, and they're just a dissatisfied person no matter what. But in most cases, though, it's a culmination of multiple experiences and improper expectations that are entirely preventable. So if your dealership, someone calls your dealership, or call your dealership yourself as a customer, if the first thing you hear is "Hello, thank you for calling, please hold," and then then hold music, okay, you're already starting off in a very bad place. If I remember, if in being younger, if you met someone out and you're interested in that person, you gave them your phone number, they called and you treated them like that. Do you think they would call you back?
No.
Yeah, probably not. So a lot of it's common sense, but it's a numbers game and volume. So they think efficiency is in some cases, less spend and being able to handle more volume with less people. Maybe in some cases, but in more cases, that's a quantitative solution and not a qualitative solution. So sure, if you throw more people into that into that bucket, then yes, you can predict what percentage of those will convert. That might satisfy your financial goals. But if you also add a qualitative component to it, that percentage will increase, and you could satisfy that same financial goal with minimal effort, because now you're perpetuating a narrative that's positive and driven by your customers more so than your own marketing efforts.
I've heard you talk about a CX, customer experience mindset, empowering employees, encouraging feedback, resolving potential complaints. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Right. So it comes down to behavior, because if you think about phone scripts and things that you tell people to say, when they're on the phone, that are checking boxes, right? That's not really behavior. That's just following instructions. In order to change behavior, the way that someone approaches a conversation with another individual has to go about changing their mindset, the way that they think. So if you're in an organization that's driven top down about, by all means, this end of the month, we need to hit this number no matter what. And they're going to treat the people who are less likely to convert by the end of the month with less effort than the people who seem to indicate that they want to buy this month, because that's the directive that they've been given. So a lot of times, the mindset starts from the top down, and if it's promoted properly, that at the end of the day, we want to have raving reviews. We want to be the brand that people love to shop. They have a great buying experience, that they leave here happy and satisfied with their purchase. If that's from the top down, then when it hits that service advisor, or it hits that salesperson, their mindset isn't one that's like, oh, if I don't hit my number, I'm going to get lambasted. It's more like, wow, this review came in, glowing. If anyone who's bought a car, in the last 5 to 10 years, at some point, their sales advisors are asking this question: you're going to get a survey coming up? Is there any reason you can't? Like, you shouldn't have to do that. So why, if you did an excellent job, you don't have to prime your customer to say that you did an excellent job.
Gary, one of the things I think is fascinating about Total CX is that when you look at the customer experience and the buying cycle, rather than focusing on a traditional sales funnel, you're looking at it through the eyes of the customer. And I would imagine first of all, that becomes a coaching tool at the dealership. But take us through the steps, because I imagine the first step is acknowledging that we can do better, and awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the traditional sales funnel, where you have conversion between these stage and these different stages, where they're a lead and they have an appointment, they come in and do a test drive, the quote's gone out, or whatever the different milestones are, in that funnel. The funnel from the CX mindset is driven by the stages of customer experience. So like awareness. So you're able to know from your marketing numbers, how many eyeballs were on your website, how many marketing calls came in from marketing lines, et cetera. You're able to see how many VDPs were viewed and how many online quote requests were submitted. So now you're able to tell research, what number of customers are actually in the research phase trying to learn more about price, features, and functionality, towards buying. You're also able from the DMS to tell who actually bought or didn't buy. And also then from the DMS, you're able to see, service experience, like what's the last spend, what's, how much, service revenue is being driven by each, customer, and recalls satisfied, recall notification went out, how long before that recall was satisfied for that customer, if at all. And last but not least is, okay, so now you have your Google My Business page and other online reviews and social media, Facebook, et cetera, where people are now commenting publicly on your brand. And what's the sentiment there? Is it positive? Is it negative? Did you ask for it? Was it unsolicited? So if you take all of these things together and you're able to measure them, you're able to look at percentages to say, well, we converted from awareness to research this number, from research to decision where people bought this number, from decision to service. So they're getting their vehicle serviced here and having a great experience. And then from there, to loyalty.
Gary, can dealers watching today use your product, Total CX? Can they use that? Obviously sales, obviously service. What about parts? Because parts gets a lot of activity on the phones. And, we typically hear you mentioned, please hold. I would imagine that it's very likely when you call a parts department or get a transfer over there, that happens a whole lot in our industry.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I think what parts is probably one of the most underserved in terms of resources that the parts manager gets to actually run that facet, of the business. And it's also when you consider, trading from other dealerships calling for parts, and then, local body shops and all this other, they have a lot of volume without a lot of resources to help juggle that load. But parts can definitely use the system, and in this case, they may need to use the system to help them advocate for more resources.
I ask you about parts simply because that industry is changing rapidly. In the old days, a customer would come to the counter, the front counter in parts, and buy the part. Today, they're online, okay, and they're calling the dealership, and there's all kinds of tools, that dealerships want to use to sell, let's say, an Amazon store or eBay and things like that. So our industry is evolving, Gary, and on the service side, I don't see the phones going away or declining. In fact, I think it's even more, okay, that customers want to know, and they want to know some answers, and we need to get proficient on the phones.
Yeah, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly. And the worse the phones become in terms of the experience that customers have, the higher likelihood of success of these other means. And it's not because it's a better way. It's taken at face value. It's because it's a better experience. The best way is to have a person who is empathetic, understands, and can answer your questions, anticipate your concerns, and knows what may come next in your journey towards whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish with your parts purchase or your service experience or even your vehicle purchase. And those are things, that human touch, that compassion, that's something that it'd probably be a long while yet still before we're able to do that technologically.
Gary, I know you're going to be, your company, TotalCX, will be at NADA. In fact, I see on the scroll down below, I see the booth number there as well. What's the best way for people to reach out? And before you answer that, is it tough to get started? Is it difficult to implement and get this going in my dealership? Do you help the dealerships in rolling this out? I know you've got great experience in that.
Oh yeah, we as part of our name change, we used to have success managers. We converted them to experience managers. Okay. So they manage our customers' experience. From hello, to nice to see you again, and that process is very, very streamlined. We're very adept at it. We've been doing it for more than a decade and a half. So it's very easy to get started with our platform, and the more you get into it, and the more you see how there's been so much that you just haven't had your arms around, it becomes something that you can't live without.
I love it. Everybody, for more information, you could visit TotalCX.com. Online, Gary Graves is the CEO. He's on social media as well. He and his team, please reach out. If you're headed end of the week to Las Vegas and NADA, stop in and see them there. And Gary, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, thank you so much for this today. And I'm going to invite you and your team back and learning a little bit more about how you drill down into this and what you do for our industry. So on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, thank you today.
Thank you, Ted. And thank you for all that you do.
Everybody, Gary Graves from TotalCX here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Whether you consider it evolutionary or revolutionary, change is reshaping the franchise dealer business, and we're not talking about electric vehicles. There's another promising opportunity that demands your attention. It's the fast-growing and increasingly lucrative customer pay parts, tire, and service market. Consider what's happening around you. Average vehicle age is at an all-time high and rising faster than ever. More than 60% of passenger vehicles are 8 years old or older. 25% are at least 16 years of age. Together, this represents 244 million prospective parts, tire, and service targets. We say prospective because the vast majority of these vehicles are being serviced outside the franchise dealer channel. Would you like to capture your share of this nearly $400 billion opportunity? Epicore is ready to help. Our solutions are enabling thousands of automotive businesses to address every customer pay parts, tire, and service opportunity for virtually any vehicle, regardless of make, model, or year. We're helping service providers build customer relationships spanning the full vehicle lifecycle, from the end of the factory warranty to the day the vehicle is scrapped. We're putting the industry's most complete parts, tire, and labor data at the fingertips of thousands of service advisors every day. We've created a faster, more accurate estimating process for customer pay jobs that helps dealers increase average RO and service lane productivity. We offer real-time information on local parts and tire availability and pricing to speed every job, increase customer satisfaction, and boost the dealer's absorption rate. And we're helping parts departments establish real-time visibility and control of their inventories to increase efficiency and reduce operating costs. Epicore is ready to help your fixed ops teams achieve the same impressive results. Own every non-warranty parts, tire, and service opportunity, all makes, all models, all customers. Now you can with Epicore. Contact us today to learn more.